All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to MazzaMedia. It's Monday night, and we are ready to rock and roll. Day one of trial is in the books. I just got done catching up moments ago, and we get basically two shows for the price of one here tonight. So we're going to be talking about the North Andover Select Board meeting to lead things off today, which will be kicking off here in about 4 minutes. And we'll get this all queued up, make sure we got it here. And that looks good. All right. The weather in North Andover right now is 33 degrees with a 30% chance of snow. All right. So we got a lot of guests coming on this show tonight at 7:30. We got attorney Mark Betterow. Mark Betterow, ladies and gentlemen, will be joining us. Attorney Lori Mullen. Mullen Law on X will be joining us. Lauren Katie joining us tonight as well. We got Britt Happens joining us, and we have the Glare joining us all at 7:30. So we're going to do what we can to talk about all the North Andover Select Board stuff in a few moments. Audrey's expected to be back, and essentially we're to believe that other people will be showing up tonight, whether they speak or not. So Audrey should have some backing here tonight, as opposed to last time when she had to go there by herself. The popcorn store is still open for about another hour. Allison has got that thing over $7,000. There was initially at a $5,000 goal. That's gone above that. She set it for $6,500, broke that too. So that popcorn store is doing absolutely fantastic. Big day of trial. Again, just got caught up a little bit ago and watched back everything I possibly could here before I went live. And it's going to be very interesting tomorrow when Noonan gets cross-examined. That's all I have to say about that. Very much looking forward to that cross-examination tomorrow, which is going to be huge. I was a little, actually, I wasn't really shocked Justin's was short, because Justin's time, in court's going to be more probate and family court. For this matter, he's someone that was present for something that was essentially between Noonan and Kelsey. So it makes sense that, there wasn't really much cross-examination there. But what was interesting is Bradle asking questions of Courtney like he did, and really narrowing it down and getting her in a little box of, well, nobody really opened up the door. You kind of just walked right in. He kind of brought that up. But, Kelsey looked ready to go this morning. It was a packed house. I heard people were waiting in line just to be there as well. And, it was tough to get in. Cold day today, rainy day. That's for sure, all day across Massachusetts. And we're ready. We're ready for tomorrow. It will be interesting to see how long this trial goes. Will this go all the way through Wednesday? Will it go all the way through the end of the week? We're already starting to see some of the bigger names in this already coming up as, being called to the stand. We saw Sean Daly. We saw Noonan, who's halfway done. We saw Courtney and Justin Alayan. And what we might see soon is Kelsey herself. We're going to see if Kelsey ends up getting called and if Kelsey ends up testifying, which is going to be very interesting to see. Thank you very much, Mr. Roboto. Yes, but, earlier today, it was like a weekend update moment that you could have come up with. It's like, if anybody's not at the courtroom, please. Justin, you don't have to run. You can walk if you want. You can walk. But yeah, we got Scott McGinnis out there today. Michael Bryant from Justice Serve, KY Maverick, Lori Katie from Crime Scene Common Sense Investigator was there today. So I don't know who got in the courtroom, who did not. But we are basically, here we are. This is it. This is the week now. And like I said, Bradle had a great opening, Romney. I thought Bradle had a fantastic opening today. I thought he really hit all the key points. And, the burden of proof is on the Commonwealth, and Noonan got up there all like stoic, like, I'm just a good cop. I'm a regular cop. And, I fire the shots that I have to take. And that's it. That's it. It was nothing, typically what you'd expect. Just like you saw to the Karen Reed trial with some of the state police officers, just overly stoic, acting like they've done nothing wrong. And really, that was pretty annoying as well. Again, 7:30, we're going to get going with our guests. But for Tom CPU was just out there today. Tom CPU literally shut people down today on the other side. He just showed up and he's like, oh, by the way, they're listening to this, all the stuff on the devices. They suspected, which was amusing. But yeah, that was funny. Real funny, actually, that ended up happening. We may have to play some of that footage. I'm trying to gather some footage still. If anybody has any of the footage, I was the past hour trying to gather footage from X. If anybody has any footage on X, I'm actually looking for the footage where Justin and Courtney arrive. And I have found another bit of footage from Channel 25 Boston. Oh, here we go. Coming up next, the North Andover Select Board meeting live from North Andover. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Government Cam North Andover, available for viewing on Comcast Channel 8, Verizon Channel 26, also available on the North Andover website. We welcome you tonight. About an hour ago, I checked this stream and it was down. Their live stream was down. I'm like, oh my goodness, they're going to shut us down and not allow us to stream it. But no, they were backed up. They must have just had their tech team working on things. Yes, the Canton Select Board meeting tonight. Listen to me, the North Andover Select Board. I'm saying I have Canton Select Board ingrained in my mind after all of these years. Tonight, we're watching the North Andover Select Board meeting live from the town hall in the town of North Andover, which is why it's called the North Andover Select Board meeting, because it takes place in North Andover and features a select board of people that are elected officials to the government. Tonight, before the turkey statue, residents will come to speak and give their thoughts on the town. Will they be nice to us? Will the guy from a few weeks ago be back to tell us about how great the local sports team of 12-year-olds did in their last game? We don't know. I think it's some kind of offshoot of Ben Stiller, possibly. But yes, tonight the select board meeting will be the biggest select board meeting of all time. All right, Common Sense Investigator will be with us at 7:30. She's there today. You want to hear Eric Cartman, you guys? You guys, the Kent Select Board meeting, you guys. The turkey statue. Yeah, it's kind of South Parkish. The turkey statue. Tonight is the South Park Select Board meeting. Yeah, a little Will Ferrell in there, a little Ben Stiller, a little Will Ferrell, a little bit of South Park. You know, we got to keep ourselves entertained during local public access government messages here. Don't start on time. Definitely South Park. If that's even your real name, Mr. Breflowski. Officer Bob Brady. Keep myself entertained here. My goodness gracious. And we are live outside the North Andover Select Board meeting, where tonight, on the first day of trial in the Kelsey Fitzsimmons case, the town's about to gather where they're basically going to get taken to the woodshed by the people in the town to bring it to their attention that this town needs to be more properly enforced. Emily C. has made her way into the comments tonight. Emily C. has a great show on YouTube. Very entertaining. MJ is a mod. She's here tonight. Good to see her. All righty then. Someone should just show up. Imagine someone shows up at a select board acting like Ace Ventura, like, all righty then. Yeah, Noonan had a lot to say today. Noonan had a lot to say. Yeah. Had a lot to say. Nope, I can't post that comment. Sorry, I posted that by accident. Not nearly as entertaining as this show right now. Can Bruce Wayne and Batman truly coexist? We'll find out today. You know what character that is from which Batman movie? You get bonus points. Tic-tac, sir. Today was the best day of my life, Lloyd. We went skiing. We had lunch. She touched my leg. You mean to tell me you had this extra pair of gloves this entire time? Yeah, we're in the Rockies. Of Courtney from Florida, what's going on? When's this going to start? Let's go. They're probably like over there right now. I don't know if we should actually air tonight's meeting because that MazzaMedia guy is probably live streaming it right now. MazzaMedia. No one likes MazzaMedia here in North Andover. I'm not much more liked than Canton either. At least half the town likes me. The other half of the town probably doesn't. So you're telling me there's a chance Sammy Swampson, Samsonite. Oh, it's right in the briefcase. Samsonite. I was way off. Come on, let's go, guys. I start to get a little nervous when it's 7:06 and this meeting hasn't started yet. Like, maybe MazzaMedia will just give up. Jason Grant is in the house. Jason, I'm fired up tonight, man. I'm doing like comedic impressions tonight. That's basically the level of it. Oh, here we go. Hello and welcome.
Good evening and welcome to the Monday, March 23rd regular session of the North Andover Select Board. It's 7:06 p.m. and we're now out of executive session and into our regular session.
6 minutes late.
I ask you to join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
All right.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
A lot of people there right now.
We're going to move into our public comment period. Per the select board policy, public comment is not a discussion.
Who among
debate,
you
dialogue
is
between
pro
citizens
Kelsey?
and the select board. It is a citizen's opportunity to
All right, here we
express
go.
his or her opinion on issues
I gotta get
of
serious
town
now.
business. The board may respond to a public comment by taking it under consideration when deliberating on an agenda item or referring the item to the administration for appropriate action or response. Public comment shall be for a period of up to 15 minutes, with speakers being allowed 3 minutes to present their material. Is anybody here for public comment?
Here we go. It's
Please
gotta be
come on
Audrey
up
leading us off.
and
Let's go, Audrey.
Identify yourself.
Here we go.
Audrey Elliott, Fox Hill Road. Good evening. Well, I understand the select board does not manage day-to-day operations of the fire department. You do enact rules and regulations establishing townwide policies that the fire department must follow. Again, as many are aware, firefighter Justin Elaine continues to be a considerable safety concern for this town. I understand he is currently suspended with pay pending investigation. I do hope it's an outside neutral agency performing the investigation. Mr. Elaine is on video over 270 times within an 8 to 10 week period smoking what is believed to be marijuana. He is very aware of the town drug policy as well as the state policy regarding smoking for firefighters. I should not need to remind you, the residence that he lived in during that period is not 1,000 feet from a school.
Yeah.
The concern there was the outback smoking while children were present during school hours. In addition to this, there are allegations of heavy alcohol use, using Adderall not prescribed to him, taking Ativan not prescribed to him to ward off the alcoholic intoxication effects. I cannot see him being fit for duty if he needs to drink cooking wine at the station to ward off the shakes. How deep does this issue go in the department? Has mandatory random testing been recently carried out on all? Firefighters face high rates of alcohol and drug abuse, often linked to occupational stress, trauma, and a culture of camaraderie. I know many would prefer to sweep it under the rug until things calm down, but the liability to the town and every single resident is huge.
Good job, Audrey.
Here for public comment.
Come on.
Come on up.
Here we go. All right, let's see if this is going to be someone on our side here. All right, here we go.
Hi, Joanna O'Connell, 55 Brightwood Ave. I'm here to talk about the new sustainable purchasing policy that's on the agenda to adopt by the Board of Selectmen. The policy we currently have in place is called a buy recycled policy. It acts as a best practice document asking town departments to purchase products which are environmentally preferable and or made of recycled materials
Okay,
whenever
enough of
such
sound
products
effects.
meet quality requirements and are available at reasonable prices and terms.
I know, it was like
It also notes that North Andover will make more efficient use of our natural resources, recycle materials that would otherwise become waste, such as paper, cans, bottles, etc., in all municipal buildings in support of the Mass DEP waste ban, which prohibits disposal of these items, which can otherwise be recycled, and serve as a model for private and public institutions. The policy talks about how we can work together to achieve this. And in cooperation with our district schools who recycle and divert all food waste every day at lunch, North Andover can be proud to show leadership in the area of good environmental practices and consistent with our intent to be a good example to our youth.
That's what I thought about too. That's what we
This policy's been
needed.
in place for years, and it's required to apply for a Mass DEP grant called a Recycle Dividend Program. This grant provides payments to qualifying municipalities that have implemented specific waste reduction, reuse, and recycling programs and policies. Some of the examples of the activities that our committee, I should have stated that I'm with the North Andover Sustainability Committee, and I have a couple of my members here with me. We work to get this grant every year, and the buy recycle policy is a qualifying document that we need in place in order to apply for it. Some of the activities that our committee has started in some cases and help to continue each year include helping the DPW, encouraging the DPW-led household hazardous waste days, having a zero waste day in the fall to collect hard to recycle items and energy efficient, inefficient dehumidifiers. We have green team leadership at every school in town. We help have residents access to multilingual recycling handouts available online. We have backyard compost bins available to residents at a discount price to promote soil creation and waste reduction. Have an active sustainability committee that maintains social media postings in partnership with Recycle Smart to promote correct ways to recycle. Have a spring townwide cleanup event.
3 minutes
and a new
is
event
up.
that we're promoting.
Yeah,
in the
3 minutes
community
is
with
up. We want
collaboration
someone
with the
that's pro
library, a
Kelsey
fix-it
here.
clinic to promote folks to try to fix items rather than throw them into the trash. The committee's been able to apply for these funds every year for the past 5 years, receiving between $7,000 and $14,000 each year for the town of North Andover, and we've been able to put that to the Green Schools program, which is the composting program. We're diverting over 700 pounds of food waste and other compostable materials per day throughout the district, and using about 50 trash bags less per week, which is equivalent to about 130,000 pounds a year, and about 2,000 less trash bags, which is turned to soil instead of creating trash. Am I done? My 3 minutes are up. Okay.
Yes.
I just encourage that we adopt this policy. I have some other committee members that don't talk quite as much as me, and they'll be able to help out with that too. So.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Someone pro Kelsey now. Let's go.
Else that came through on public comment. One was from Rachel Pronovost in favor of the purchasing policy, and one was from Bethany. I have terrible phonics issues. I'm sorry. Bethany Wieckzorek, also in favor of the policy.
I think there may actually even be a couple more, but yes, we'll attach them. So, yeah,
Great, thank you.
perfect. Okay. Anyone else here for public comment?
Here we go. Come on. Pro Kelsey. Let's go. Come on. This is our guy. Come on. Do it.
Eric McCarthy, 19 Commonwealth Ave. I'm also here speaking on behalf of the sustainability policy. I'll keep it brief. The policy itself has changed. The wording is different. But what I'd like you guys to focus on is that inside of that new updated policy is whenever feasible. So while the wording has changed, there is no additional contractual agreement or any additional money that we're asking for. We're just asking for the same grant that's been approved before. And like I said, while the terminology in the policy has changed, something that we can focus on is that
we know, but we're hoping for people that are pro Kelsey to show up.
Your discretion. I can go on to say how much I enjoy the sustainability committee.
It's almost like they just went out there tonight and like, let's just have as many people show up to flood this with like random stuff as possible. Oh my goodness. Yeah. It's, oh my goodness. Yeah. This is, this is what I'm concerned about now. And all these people are here for other reasons. All right.
Is there any other public comments?
We're 1 for 3 so far.
Okay. Thank you all. And we are going to move on now
All right.
to our first item of new business, which is the planning board report for town.
All right. So Audrey is out there by herself again in terms of speakers. So far, just nobody there but her in terms of speakers. I don't know if anybody was there and supported her tonight, but yeah, there was a lady in back with the purple cup. So maybe some people were there in support. So for anybody that did not speak about Kelsey Fitzsimmons tonight, we just used sound effects over their talk time. 7:30. We're 14 minutes away right now from our formal show beginning, which is going to feature Mark Betterow, Attorney Mullen Law. We're going to have Common Sense investigator Lauren with us. Britt Happens is with us. And we're also going to have the Glare. Now, if any of them are watching and want to tune in, join the show right now. You guys can jump right on right now. We can get this going. No problem at all. Other than that, I'm going to talk about some of my thoughts right now, which is starting off with Noonan. I just, this is the one for me that I was anticipating the most and was absolutely looking forward to him in terms of what he was going to say. And what we got today was your typical cop, kind of stoic, kind of really presenting himself as the good guy, not really, going to be whatever about anything. So it was up. We got Lori Mullen joining us right now. Attorney Lori Mullen's here, ladies and gentlemen. Hi, Lori. How are you?
That meeting had me on the edge of my seat. That's some pretty good stuff there, right?
Absolutely. Too bad.
Yeah.
I feel bad for Audrey because she's getting up there every week, and now it's like that's 3 weeks now. She's gone up there, and there hasn't been a second person to get up there and double down. I was hopeful for a couple minutes there when a couple seconds there when those other two people got up, but they're just there because of reasons that aren't pertaining to Kelsey, which was I respect their right to talk about what they need to talk about. Don't get me wrong.
What do we want to hear that tonight?
Right. We're not here to find out about the lawn and garden matters of the town and the fact that the sand that's used to salt and sand the town during the winter may be moved to the opposite section of town. Don't care about that.
It's stimulating. It's completely stimulating. I actually had the privilege and honor of, I was at the trial today, and for the second half of the trial after the lunch break, I actually got to sit next to Audrey. So it was like I was fangirling all over Audrey because she's just fantastic. And I give her so much credit. It takes a lot of courage to do that. It's not easy. You're living in the town. They don't want to hear about it. But here goes Audrey. I give that woman a lot of credit. And and also she's a hot ticket. So I got to sit next to her today and meet her. That was awesome.
Yeah, she's done a great job. She's leading by example. She's holding her town accountable too, because again, the suspension thing has been okay. They suspended him, but what has really become of that since? What's going to become of it afterwards? Is it just going to be a suspension, or is it going to be some kind of permanent, fixture here? Yeah.
Well, I had to laugh because he already had a speech. Justin had a speech made up for it today when Tim was asking him you're not currently on duty, are you? And it's like, well, no. And it's like, isn't that based on a bunch of videotapes that, my town is doing its due diligence, investigating allegations. Okay.
Yeah.
Whatever you say, Justin.
My town's trying to just do the right thing. I've been, looking into me a little bit, but that's what they got to do. It's like, no, it's
come out clean on this. Like those, it was like, those videos do not depict me. That is somebody else. I'm not the guy in those videos. They're just doing their due diligence based on allegations. Does anybody believe this? I mean, honestly.
It was crazy. I got to catch up this evening, obviously, on all of this. And I was getting to the point where it was like, I thought we weren't going to see as many people as we did because Sean Daly's went pretty solid. I thought that was the solid amount you'd expect, but Justin and Courtney were just a matter of time they were on there. They were off.
They were quick.
And,
honestly, even Noonan, who actually did the shooting, and I would be able to come up with the exact times because I was taking notes and I was looking at the clock, the court clock, as witnesses came on and they came off. So I actually have the actual minutes of everybody testifying. And I actually think Daley testified for longer than Noonan, which is a little weird, right? I mean, CNSC was the one involved, it seemed like Daley was on for longer than Noonan. Obviously, Tim still has to do the cross-exam tomorrow. So we'll see how that goes. And I'm glad Tim has some time to prepare based on what the testimony was. The one thing I will say though is, right off the bat in the opening statement that caught my attention, Bradel talked about, you'll hear from Kelsey. You will hear from Kelsey and she will say this. I picked up on that right away. I wrote that down in my notes. You don't kind of say that in opening unless you're 100% sure that, because your opening is you're basically summarizing for the court the evidence that the court will hear. So you're not going to say Kelsey's going to come and testify and then she doesn't testify. It's like, so I think it's a pretty good bet that Kelsey will be taking the stand.
Absolutely. So you were in the courtroom today, correct?
I was. Yep.
What can you tell us
a little late? A little late.
All
right.
You got in.
KY Map was saving me a seat. Thanks to you, KY. I appreciate it. But
that's great.
Yeah, I was there.
So I want to ask you about this morning. There was a lot going on in the courtroom in terms of, what we heard online, lunchtime catch up. This is what I'm reading about. I'm hearing that there were people that were in there that were witnesses, or there was a little bit of a ruckus inside of the courtroom. Is any of that true that you witnessed today? Or
yeah, only because what happened was I was a little bit late and the courtroom was full. And I actually turned on Baker, Broken Baker. I was like outside in the hallway listening to Baker's stream on it so I could hear what was going on in the courtroom. And the only reason why I got a seat was because the judge was like, there's witnesses in here and you're not supposed to be, like, they should know that by now. I know all of Kelsey's family has known that. I communicate with them and we made it very clear that like, I can't talk to you. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to be in the trial. I'm not going to be telling you anything that's going on. They understand that. They're very, they're following the rules very strictly about like not watching any social media. And even tonight I was like, I'm going to Mazza. You can't, they're like, we can't watch anything. We're just going to watch TV, regular TV. So they get it. They get that they're sequestered and it's killing them. It's bothering them, but they know that's the rules. So I don't know exactly. I did see Justin's brother in there, and I think he is on the witness list. He definitely was one of the people that left like later. But the only reason why I was able to go in and get a seat was because witnesses that were sequestered were in there, and then they got up, and I was able to go in and sit down after that. So the judge did it just for me, Mazza, basically. Yeah. So
right, to make sure you got it. That's what we want to see, because you gave him a 9 out of 10 rating, and he never forgot that.
He's like, we got to get Mullen in here. It's really important. She gets a seat.
When I was asking you a question about how you would rate the judge, you're like a solid 9 out of 10. You haven't wavered. I thought he was good this morning. One thing I didn't like, from what I saw was, he had kind of gave a hard time to Bradel quite a bit about the comment he made about what he was not given by the prosecution. And you kind of get a little snippy, like, why are you telling me this in the morning of the trial? It's like, well, we haven't got it yet, and I'm letting you know.
Yeah, and it's like, how you're supposed to know what doesn't exist. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, okay, well, I'm finding out now. And that came out right away with when he was when Daley was testifying. I was kind of like, well, you made a report to somebody. Or did you didn't make a report? Yeah, I did make a report. Okay, well, like Bradel still does not have the report of Daley, like at this point. Now, is that Bradel's fault? I mean, that seems to me to be something that would be, and this would probably be a better question for Mark Betterow. I think that you're having him on tonight, obviously.
Yes.
I'm not a criminal attorney, but I mean, it would seem to me that would have been something that would have been produced in the Rule 14 stuff. I don't understand why you wouldn't. And I don't care. I guess this issue of like a third party did interviews or whatever, and they paid the third party to do these interviews. I don't care who did the interviews. If they're interviews of the people that were involved that day, they kind of fall under the Rule 14 purview of discovery. So for Bradel to be like, well, I don't have it. Like, how do you know what you don't have, right? You don't, it's hard to prove a negative. Like, I don't know what I don't have. But I'm finding out that there are these statements there and I don't have them. Like, you're just, you shouldn't have to ask for everything. That's the whole point of Rule 14. It's just supposed to be produced to you. You don't have to ask for it. It's supposed to come in. So other than that, I mean, and I was not in the courtroom for that, exchange, but I did hear a little bit of it on Baker. And I guess what he told Tim was he needs to file a subpoena to get the records in, which, puts the burden on him in the middle of trial of issuing a subpoena, getting it served, in an emergency way and having it produced within the next couple of days. I don't know whether it's relevant enough that he's going to do that. I don't know, but yeah. But other than that, I do think the judge has been really good about keeping everything on track, keeping the focus on what actually happened in the bedroom on June 30th, because the other stuff is really not all that relevant. I mean, it's a lot more important for family court. A lot of the things are a lot more important for family court than they are for the criminal trial.
Right.
And I do think Bradel did a good job with his objections with that. He was right on point every time, being like, we're opening a door, and a couple of them got sustained, got overruled, but then, the judge was sustaining quite a bit too. I thought the judge was being very fair. I really did.
Yeah, and he seemed like he was interested too. Like, he seemed to want to see, like, certain images, make sure he was well informed, make sure he was kind of quantifying everything. So that's what I want to see too, because I want to see that objectivity. And like someone said earlier in the comments to me that, the judge kind of backed off of Bradel once more of the information was settled, in terms of why the judge was, why are you bringing this to my attention? And then all of a sudden he kind of, once he found out what Bradel's argument was, he kind of got off his case a little bit, which was good. So I was happy to see that. It's just weird without the jury there, because you see that camera today and it's like it's facing the other end, the other side. That camera would have been facing the opposite way towards the media up against the wall, and that would have definitely been a whole different viewpoint with that jury.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, and like, honestly, I mean, I 100% agree with the bench trial decision. But I had already planned to come to the trial like a while back, and one of the things I was really interested, one of the reasons why I was really interested in coming to the trial was because, like, one of the things you don't get, like, from a Mazza standpoint when you're like streaming this stuff, is the reactions from the jury and things like that. And I was really kind of interested in getting that, but obviously, that's not happening. But because I do find that interesting. And even with the judge, it's like I focused a lot on watching the judge, watching where he was taking notes, what was important to the judge when things were being said. I do think he was really attentive. If he didn't understand something or didn't understand an abbreviation, he asked for an explanation on it.
Yeah.
He was taking, copious notes on things. A lot of times he and I were both writing at the same time, some of the things that I found really interesting during the testimony too. So I think it's going really well, and it's moving along quite a bit. It's really, we're already at Noonan. I mean, we've gone through, it started with Daly. Then we had the number of times I heard the alien. When you're in the court, it actually sounded like the alien. That's what it sounded like. I'm like, they're actually referring to him as the alien now. And then his sister, and now Noonan. So, but we've gone through quite a bit. Hey, Mark.
Oh, hey, we're on. Hi.
We're on.
Hey, Lauren.
Hi, everyone.
All right, I'm going to shut up now. Let's listen to other people.
That's right. Attorney Mark Betterow with us here. And then we also have private investigator Lauren Vellucci, who is actually, just like Lori Mullen, here in Massachusetts, up from Florida. Had a little bit of travel issues, it appears. Looks like Atlanta, the ATL airport, was a little difficult at 4 or 5 in the morning. I think you posted that. So we're glad you made it.
Yes, me too. But I'm here, so that's what matters.
Excellent. So, Mr. Betterow, we'll go to you, because I know everyone's already kind of like begging me, like, we want to hear from Mr. Betterow. What do you thought about all of this? What were your initial thoughts?
Pretty underwhelming, which is not a good thing for the prosecution, obviously. Their theory, right now you're at the point of the trial where it ought to be in their best light. I mean, they're presenting the case, they're quarterbacking what evidence comes in. Their star witness has not yet been cross-examined. I mean, it ought to feel like they're way ahead, even though you shouldn't really keep score until there's cross-examination and a defense case. But the story, it sounds odd, frankly, and it starts to make perhaps more sense why a grand jury, frankly, rejected this story. And I think people have to bear that in mind, that when there was no judge, there was no defense, there was no cross-examination, something similar to this version was given to a grand jury, with a much less burden of proof, probable cause, rather than proof beyond a reasonable doubt. And they didn't condone, authenticate, or credit the ultimate story here, which is that she tried to murder me. I mean, that there's no other way to say it. I mean, the testimony is she drew, pointed, and fired at my head from a couple of feet away, and then, tried to get ready to do it again and again. So, I thought the first witness was not good for the prosecution, and of course he gave out the statement that that she made, which appears consistent with shooting herself rather than shooting Noonan. And then Justin gave the same statement. And I know some people online were saying, why didn't Tim object to that? No, you don't object to that. It's helping you. Just because you can object is not a reason to object. You want Justin to corroborate the other guy. What's his name? Daly, I think. Daly, right?
Yes, Sean Daly. Yeah.
So there's really, if every single prosecution witness is saying that Noonan said to her, don't do it, then that's what the evidence is going to be. That's going to be the credible evidence. And by the time you get to cross-examination, it's going to be, how in the hell are those the words that came out, rather than what you would expect in that situation, which is screaming and yelling by Noonan, drop the effing weapon now. Also, what you see when cops are with other cops and a perp, a suspect, a civilian, anyone has a firearm and is a threat to the cop, what does every cop do? Scream, gun, gun, help, brother officer, who will come up running and do what they do. And there's no evidence of that happening, of these guys running up and drawing. I don't know how they wouldn't have drawn. That makes no sense to me. The other thing which I found fascinating with this guy Noonan, how calm he was in telling the story. I mean, there wasn't a shred of emotion, or, I mean, I'm not suggesting you should make it up, but a member of your own department just tried to murder you. And you're talking in cop talk, tactical lingo, matter-of-factly, as if it's just nothing, and then telling a story how she, the gun jammed, she tried to reload, and he's still calm, and he still hasn't yet done anything. He still hasn't yelled gun. What he probably should have done, and then the DA would argue it in summations to say, the minute she pulled a gun and shot at my head, I got news for you. You take out a gun and you shoot her and you kill her. Sorry. That's to save your own life. I mean, if that were true and he did that, is there anybody who would blame him legally for that? Absolutely not. But it feels like he's sugarcoating it. He's too cool for school almost. It's like a bullet would have gone whizzing by his head. Whatever. Don't do it. Don't do it. She's re-racking. Hey, it's cool. She's going to re-rack again. I shot her. I missed. I shot again. And, everything's just great. No big deal. I shot her. I just don't. And this is their best possible light. The cross-examination hasn't started, so I don't think it looks good. I think the way the defense is handling it is very good. in terms of leaving. I know probably most people don't like this, but I think they did the right thing with this Justin guy, actually, which we can talk about that later. But getting him on and off and throwing him away, I think, is the right thing to do. Leaving the sister alone is the right thing to do because they don't matter. That's going to come later. That's coming in family court. And this judge is no nonsense and doesn't want this crap. And what Tim and Coakley are doing is keeping their eye on the ball, streamlining it, making it simple for the judge. They're going to talk about a burden of proof and the elements of the crime, and that they're not going to be met with credible evidence. Therefore, she gets acquitted. I mean, that's the roadmap they're clearly painting.
Yeah, that was a good point, because I felt like too. Another thing too is coming up with family and probate court next month, is that you don't want to necessarily tip your cap about what you're planning to do there either, when Justin and his sister and all of them really don't matter as it pertains to the assault charge in this particular trial. So you don't show your hand, just like you said. So I like that you've broken that down for us, Mark, because that makes a great point, because they don't want to tip their cap for next month when they deal with that. Actually, I think it's the 30th coming up, but they don't want to tip their cap.
I was about to disagree with you, but then you said the last thing you said. No, and now I agree with you. I thought you were going to say they didn't want to tip their hat, and I was going to try to tackle you over the internet and say, my guy, she's fighting for her life, okay? Right. You empty the cannons in a criminal case where they're trying to convict you of a serious felony. But no, but you added the important point. It's not relevant to this case. There's no need to do it. And I will tell you, based on the little that I saw with this guy, Justin, today, he's going to be annihilated by the time he gets to family court. He's got a lot of splaining to do. And the one little snippet you saw today about leaving Fitzsimmons' guns there, but taking his own after he's so concerned and had a family court petition about the safety. But, it's okay. Child with the mother for now with her guns, even though I think she's going to do something. Good luck explaining that when a court has to determine what the best interest of this kid is in terms of parenting and whatnot, and his credibility. That was a mess.
Absolutely. Lauren, just comments, questions for Mark Betterow or Lori Mullen, just anything you want to talk about?
I wanted to mention too, I don't know if anyone said it yet, but Julie Hess was there in the gallery, and it was really great to see them working as like a team and a unit. At one point, she passed notes to Courtney, and it was just like, you can tell they're very invested because they care, and they are literally working in conjunction with each other, which is awesome. But no, it was just what a day. We got both of the most exciting witnesses, at the same day, and it was very interesting.
I'm going to Boston on Wednesday, and I was going to pop in there on Thursday, I think, because our schedule changed with our own court date getting moved. But after watching some of the stuff I watched today, I don't think they're going to be anything going on Thursday at this pace. I think we're done before Thursday at this. I mean, the show is after the cross-examination of this guy. I don't know what else they're going to do. I mean, it's pretty obvious that Kelsey is going to testify, so that'll take some time. But other than that, I mean, this thing is moving at lightning pace.
Yeah.
So, Mark, do you think it's 100% certainty? I got that from Tim's opening. He basically came out and he said, I have it, quote, she will tell you. He told the judge, she will tell you.
So yeah, no, I have thoughts about this. I talked about this yesterday with Kim a little bit. Any criminal lawyer always wants to work with the premise, how do I do this without calling the client, just for risk minimization purposes? And there are certain cases where you have to. And as we were talking yesterday, this felt like one of those cases where, barring a complete implosion by the prosecution, which I don't know, watching this guy, that it could happen, barring that in a practical sense, that this is one where you're going to have to call her, because the only way you're going to get her state of mind out about what she was thinking and what led her to have a motive to harm herself and why a judge would think it makes sense to me that she wants to harm herself. It doesn't make sense that she'd want to shoot him. And little subtle hints today about telling Noonan, why don't you go downstairs? Why don't you go downstairs? Very subtly offensive. Or maybe subtle because we're all like, yeah.
She was actually giving him like a basket of books. Like she's like, here, take these downstairs, you know?
But so, yeah, no, I do think, I mean, I heard the opening and yes, no, that is a commitment to having her testify. That's probably the only thing today that on a subtle level that I would disagree with. I don't like committing to that because if you don't, now, having said that, you can take liberty because it's a bench trial. A judge is much less likely to speculate about that or think about things you're not supposed to think about and know the law and follow the law and procedure, as opposed to a jury. You'd be concerned, well, this guy promised us that this was going to happen, and now he's writing checks he won't cash. And of course, she's far and away the most interesting person in the courtroom that you want to hear from, and you told me you were going to do it, and now you're not doing it. You know, it's kind of like the Brian Walsh thing for the Massachusetts people that kind of became an issue. In his case, something similar happened. But with a bench trial, you know, you can play a little more with it. So I understand what they did, but I think practically she is going to testify because you can't get her state of mind. And the only evidence that the prosecution is going to offer is that she tried to murder me. And I think they're going to be very effective at poking holes in that in cross, but I'm not sure I would rely and rest on that without having her explain what happened and having a judge in a position to say, well, I can't necessarily discredit what Fitzsimmons is telling me. I can't wholeheartedly credit what the other guy is telling me. And if that's where the judge is coming out, well, that's
doubt.
Right.
Yeah.
Mark, can I ask you this then? So I felt like Tim did a really good job today in terms of limiting what the focus of the case was in terms of his objections. So is that going to help in terms of like cross-examination on Kelsey? If he's direct examining her and keeping that focus really tight, do you think he'll be able to do that continuing into cross on objections if he needs to, or if you think it's going to limit her testimony?
Well, I think they're going to want to keep her on a tight leash about what, and to be honest with you, I don't know what the pretrial ruling was, what New York call a Sandoval hearing about if you testify, here are the bad acts and convictions. You know, in New York, they tell you in advance, if you testify, they can hit you with this. I don't know what is fair game or not as it relates to Kelsey if she testifies. Having said that, even if it were allowed in about her problems with this guy, it's not that important. I don't know what other kind of skeletons allegedly are in the closet, as some of the Twitter trolls like to talk about. None of this really matters. What the prosecutor would have to do is thoroughly discredit her story about harming herself vis-a-vis harming Noonan. And what's fascinating to me is I didn't know if Noonan was going to testify. Look, she had the gun and she was unstable and she's waving it around and she pointed it at me. And, you know, in that situation, if that were true, a cop could shoot her. I mean, I'm not saying you want that, but like in the real world on the street. But the testimony here was, no, she absolutely 100% with the intent to murder me, tried to murder me. I feel confident that she will come off as being able to explain that was not at all the case. Why wouldn't I just shoot what would happen if she shoots him? What does she think happens next? Is she going to hide behind the bed and it's Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid?
Right.
And she's going to reload.
No, seriously.
For her this is insanity. I mean, I think on a common sense level, this prosecution is misguided and ill-advised. It's like they didn't think this through.
I agree 100%. And the fact that Sean Daly got up there and basically said something along the lines of, she basically said that she wanted to die. It was just, again, I mean, literally, they might as well just shut the whole trial down right then and there. Because once he said that, It's like, well, there you go. So you admitted she's suicidal, or she was suicidal in that moment.
Right.
She wanted suicide by cop. She wanted to go down Butch Cassidy style and get, shot to death by her own department. And that's her like F you to the world. That makes no sense. I mean, look, again, and the defense doesn't have to prove any of this. They just have to plant credible seeds of doubt and that her story somewhat makes sense.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
And I know me and Lori were talking about this after court, but Noonan said multiple times today that she was getting ready to raise her arm. That in no way.
Use the words getting ready.
Yes.
Getting ready.
Which means she didn't raise her arm, which means she could have been planning to shoot herself and not him.
So you don't know which direction it's going in, right?
Right.
I didn't hear
so
that.
So if she's getting ready to do that, then he would probably say something along the lines of, Kelsey, don't do it.
Well, that's problematic. I mean, look, you watch this during the day and, it's not like you're staring at the television. There are moments where you're taking phone calls or doing things and your attention is elsewhere. I didn't hear that, but that ain't good on cross-examination because that feels contrived, that feels rehearsed, and that feels like what I'd said last week or even the other day to Kim, that ultimately it seems to support one of those defense theories that something bad happened. She went down in a heap. She's probably going to die. And oh, crap, here we go with internal affairs and they're going to investigate me. And no police officer likes that. And I'm not saying it happened, but again, we don't have to prove what happened. They don't have to prove it. And that it is logical that in that situation, a police officer who thought they're going to come down on me, I might have overreacted, I screwed up, my God, I just killed this woman who's in my own department and that you make a decision and it's a bad one and you can't turn back from it, which is the story is going to be that she came for me and she's not around to dispute that. And there are no other witnesses and her gun is there and she does have this history and it was emotional, that if the authorities credit that story and can't disprove it, then it goes down in the dustbin of history as a tragic yet legally justifiable accident by Noonan, which I'm not saying that happened, but that doesn't seem reasonable. That seems plausible. And when you talk about the statements that you just mentioned, like she was going to do this, I mean, so what is it like now? What was the name of that movie? It's The Minority Report. You can predict what people are going to do next. So I had to get ready. But even then, he's too loosey-goosey. I mean, I feel like his demeanor was not good for the prosecution because he had the guy told you, I wanted to go back to North Andover because it's, a nice town with no crime, basically, right? I wanted to get out of the danger zone and come back. And, look what I walked into. I wasn't even supposed to work that day. And now I'm doing this. And he was so matter of fact, loosey-goosey, calm, and looked like he just wanted to talk with the judge about, tactical terms and this and that.
Yeah.
As opposed to
right. He belongs in a classroom.
God. Okay. I mean, I would have thought that he would have been prepared to give this emotional story about, I didn't want to do this. I didn't want to shoot this woman in her own home, in front of her baby or close to it, a member of my police department, no police officer, all the training we've had. You pray that this moment never comes. But in that moment, she was coming for me and I had no choice. I had to protect myself. And he didn't do any of that. He just, she tried to shoot me in the head.
Right. As a matter of fact, I mean, there's been a lot of information out there in terms of Kelsey's relationship with this person and that they had worked together and they had a very complicated case where it was a mother-baby suicide that they worked together. And on the stand, he basically came out and said, I barely knew her. I mean, she worked for me. She hasn't been around that long.
I think you should expect that you're going to hear about that on cross-examination in a very vigorous way too, because if he tried I remember the testimony. I didn't know about the history that they had together, but I do remember him saying that. I didn't really know her because she was like always on maternity leave when I was around, something like that.
That's a weird thing to say.
If it turns out that they were involved in one of those cases that cops never forget, and they bonded over that emotional trauma, now it starts to make sense about like Kelsey, don't do it. Things like that feels like there's a connection there. Like, my God, don't. He's boxed in. I mean, his story, that's his story, and he's sticking to it. Mm-hmm. And, the prosecution should have known when they sought an attempted murder indictment, and instead of getting a ham sandwich, they got Spam from the grand jury. And I mean, not get the attempted murder indictment in a grand jury where, I mean, if ever you're being sent a message that this is just a bad case. It's a tragic accident. There's all kinds of things going on. And, a courageous prosecutor could have very well said, you know what? We don't see enough to charge her with a crime, and we can't say that we have enough to charge him either. And it's just one of these awful things. But, to rally around him in the way they did and just, throw her to the wolves. I mean, it's a choice. Yeah, I don't know. It's a very good one, but
Mark, did you hear the whole? There was a point where the judge actually took a break, and I think he went off and did some research on the excited utterance issue. Did you hear that at all?
That I missed. Which excited utterance? Okay,
so when Daley was testifying, he said that like shortly thereafter, after a bit of cross exam, or I think it was direct exam from Gubitosi, it seemed around at the 5-minute mark. Like, so Kelsey, the shooting happens, and then Daley's talking to Noonan, and Noonan says to Daley, "She pointed a gun at me. She pointed a gun at me." So he makes this statement, on the heels of the shooting. And Daley tries to get that in. And of course, Tim, and he says, and Gubitosi says, so it's like excited utterance, so it's not hearsay, it's an excited utterance. So of course, Tim objects, right? And then the judge says, well, okay, we're going to take like a 5-minute break. And then he comes back to the bench and he says, you know what? I don't think by a preponderance of the evidence that you've proved that this was an excited utterance. It was however many minutes it was. And you're talking about people who are supposedly, and Tim made a really good point, because in their whole direct examination, the prosecution's direct examination of Daley, it was, actually the opening statement, it was all about what a great officer Noonan is. And he's so experienced and he knows all these things and he's so knowledgeable and whatnot. And he's been in many situations. But
he's a veteran.
Yeah, he's a veteran and he knows.
That's going to go far.
Trying to say 5 minutes after the event, he comes out with like this excited utterance that, she pointed the gun at me. And the judge did sustain that objection.
It's probably not an excited utterance, but also, I mean, was there testimony that he said it in a like heightened, panicky voice or yelling? Or for an excited utterance, can't be matter of fact, 5 minutes after the incident where there's time to kind of cool down. And to your point earlier, after you've just portrayed him as a calm, cool, collected customer who can stare, evil and death in the face and laugh because he's so well trained, to get all panicky, but yet they don't even show that he's panicky. One thing I've noticed about the prosecution generally here, they're not very strategic. They're not tactical. They're not passionate. That's for sure. Mm-hmm. They're just kind of there and throwing it all out there and say, Judge, this is what we got, and knock yourself out. I don't even know why they called the Alayans, if that's how you say their name. I guess maybe they got punked into it by the defense being so aggressive, and they got nervous and felt they had to. And they try to sneak in all this other hearsay through the sister, which was never going to come in. But even if that comes in, to what end? I mean, what does that have to do with Fitzsimmons' state of mind when she's alone with Noonan, which is the real issue here, and how Noonan reasonably perceived it? You know, I mean, so I just feel like there's really not much happening here, and what ought to be strong evidence for the prosecution, even without the cross, it's kind of limited so far.
I didn't like the way he tried to portray himself as like this heroic cop, like Kelsey, you have everything to live for. You got your baby to live for. It was like he was just trying to play himself up as like this good, your friendly, good neighborhood town cop, which I didn't like at all. And this guy was just, like I said, way too stoic about all of this, considering there's no kind of trauma. I mean, this is not Ivan Drago in Rocky IV. If she dies, she dies. I mean, that's how Ivan Drago was. He didn't care about what happened to Apollo Creed, and that's the way he came across on court today. There's no like, this is a terrible situation. I can't believe it happened. I feel so bad that either A, I shot her when she tried to shoot me, or B, I accidentally shot her when she tried to shoot herself. There's nothing of that at all. This guy was overly stoic, and it was extremely disturbing, which suggests this guy's on some kind of medication or medications right now, as far as I'm concerned. And this Flexerol thing and oversleeping and going AWOL is also extremely suspicious. And I question whether or not this guy
I forgot about that.
is a fit witness.
Well, he came on. The word I would use is he was robotic. I mean,
Yeah, very detached.
Yeah. And look, that there could be any number of reasons for that. I don't know anything about him other than what we're seeing or what we've talked about previously. But I mean, again, you're an officer who you shared a traumatic professional experience with, which ought to bond you for life on some level. Allegedly tried to murder you in her own home, and you're married. You have a child. You're on your day off. God damn it! I mean, of all the terrible things to happen, and he's just blah. I mean, he came off. He sounded like a dial tone. You know, and it's just surprising.
He would have come across to me as being more credible. By the way, I'm sorry for being late. I was trying to get my camera to work and I gave up. But anywho, he would have come across as far more credible to me had he shown some sympathy for the situation as a whole. I mean, no well-intended police officer wants to have to use their firearm. And
that's right.
Yeah, I just, whether he knew Kelsey or not, if this was just a stranger who he never had met before, I would have taken what he said with more gravitas, so to speak. Had he shown some kind of, I mean, even if it was a good shoot, I would be remorseful about it. I wouldn't have been happy.
Yeah, you weren't here. I don't think you were here a few minutes ago. We were talking about this, that what you would have expected if the prosecution actually believed in the case and had witnesses who, again, were, I think, just better. This guy would have testified about how he did what no police officer ever wants to do and what they dread doing, and to be thrust into this situation, but I had no choice, while at the same time saying, yeah, I absolutely shot her and I tried to shoot her in the chest because I had no choice. And it's unfortunate, but she left me with no choice. And I just want to go home. I want to go home tonight. And I wish it didn't happen, but she was trying to kill me. And I'm alone.
It was
and
me.
As he even said, she had the tactical edge on me, which I don't understand his lack of yelling to the others in the house, informing everyone that there was a gun. I mean, I didn't watch all the video that they played today. I know they played some, and you can kind of see it in the background. And the video I saw online of the Justin guy like running out of the house and this and that. But if I understood that the limited video I saw correctly today, they didn't really hear much or do anything, the cops, that is, until the gunshots went off.
Yeah, and actually Daley ran up the stairs as soon as you heard the gunshots. But guess what? He didn't have his gun out.
Yeah,
I guess
he didn't have his gun out.
That's
I
the
mean,
problem.
you're hearing, you don't know what you're going into. He has no idea what he's going into. He's running up the stairs. Wouldn't the first reaction be to get your gun out?
To draw your gun and
That's
have
right.
it ready.
Well, I mean, it depends. I mean, you could also run out of the building too if you were afraid of the situation.
Yeah, you could tripping
Not,
Hide in the trees.
not if you're an on-duty officer. No, that's unacceptable.
The point that I'm making is the video tells a lot, and the reactions in the video and the sound are out of order. And what I mean is, when you listen to Noonan testifying, there was a shot at my head and a miss. She's moving. She's re-racking once. She's re-racking twice. Now, I'm not going to tell you that's 30 seconds. It's probably, I mean, whatever. But my point is this. And what should have happened on the video, if it had sound anyway, which did it have sound? I don't even know, to be honest with you.
No, it
But-
didn't.
Okay. But then the testimony should have been that I heard gun or dropped the freaking weapon and started running. And a second or two after I started running, I heard pam pam. And there's none of it.
He doesn't. Sorry.
No,
Just
that's
real
it.
quick. Noonan doesn't seem like the kind of guy to me that's ever going to beg for his life in a life or death situation. He's not going to say like, "Oh, don't do it. Please don't shoot me." He's never going to say that. The only way he would ever say, "Kelsey, don't do it," is just like how Sean Daly said it, which is when Sean Daly said it, it really came off exactly how I've always interpreted it as, which is it's to prevent someone from trying to kill themselves. That's the way it comes off of. And I can't see Noonan in a situation like, "Oh my God, she's going to shoot me. Kelsey, don't do it." I don't see him acting that way because he don't have the personality for it. And he's too stoic for that. But I could picture him saying like, "Don't do it." What the hell, what the hell's going on? Don't do it.
Yeah, with all that tactical experience, drop the gun. Drop the gun.
What police officer in a home with other police officers who he also wants to protect, who don't know what's happening upstairs?
Exactly.
Okay. He is alone in a room with, by his testimony, and I'm paraphrasing, but it is what it is, a mentally unstable, murderous lunatic, okay, who's going to kill him. And then what? Cops, what do they do more than anyone else in any profession? They protect each other. And that's not, I mean, that's a good thing. I mean, they run to each other, they help each other. That's why, when you see one of them in court as a defendant or a victim, they all go, except for one case we all know. The point is, what cop in Noonan's situation wouldn't alert the brother officers downstairs, not only help me, but if I don't make it, get ready. There's a lunatic gun and she just lost her kid and she's going crazy. And they don't have to prove any of this. They just have to poke holes and establish plausibility, reason.
What would her motive be? Why would she want to kill Noonan? What was her end game if that was what she wanted to do? Yeah. And somebody in the chat was saying she even handed the baby to him so he could feed the baby.
That was such a great point that Bradel made. Out of everybody there, you've got Daly, who is, the OIC, the officer in charge. And then you've got, what was his name? Houston. And so out of everybody there, she chose to hand the baby to Noonan first. Yeah. And, that moment, and imagine how difficult that moment had to be for her. So she is surrendering her child, letting her child go. And out of everybody in that room, she chose to hand, her pride and joy over to Noonan. So, it definitely on its face does not make a ton of sense that 5 minutes later, she's gone from, selecting Noonan out of everybody in the room to surrender the child to now I'm going to put you down. It's just such a 180. So Bradel did great pointing that out.
And he was like, Oh yeah, she gave me the baby, but like, I had this big vest on and it wasn't like, I couldn't really hold him and stuff. It's like, you're missing the point, pal. She gave you the baby to feed.
Can you imagine Noonan actually holding a baby? It's probably like middle schoolers at a dance at, holding the baby full arm's length straight out away from himself.
Oh, it was so weird. And then it just seemed he was trying too hard during his direct to distance himself from his relationship with Kelsey. He just wanted everyone to know, I barely knew her. Like, she just came on the job and she was on maternity leave. It's like,
be a problem if what you said earlier is proof that
how does that benefit him though? Like, I mean, I feel like it would benefit the prosecution more if he shot her and did not want to. He had no choice.
100%.
It makes no sense that he would try to distance himself and disassociate with her as much as he possibly could. It was bizarre.
I agree with you. It just was weird. I mean, it was one of those things that I did make a note of in my little book here. I was like,
maybe that was, and this is just pure speculation, but perhaps, just for keeping it together on the stand for himself, maybe he knew if he could remain emotionally detached on the stand, it would prevent him from slipping up and saying something that he didn't want to say. I don't know. This is just me spitballing and brainstorming through it, but maybe if he kept himself distanced, then he could, kind of keep that seal of emotion from being broken.
I just found it funny, like, he's obviously distancing himself. They're not good friends, but yet he found it super odd that she parked in this different area of her home than apparently he, knew that she did before. You can't have it both
knew
ways.
her.
Right.
Maybe she likes to get a little extra exercise. It's like, when I do shit all week long and I decide to park at the last spot in Walmart because I feel like that's making up for my steps I didn't get in all week long.
Tomorrow is going to be a very interesting cross-examination. And I hope that Bradel really takes Noonan inch by inch through how this can physically make sense, because the first thing I noticed the first thing I noticed was it seemed that Noonan was trying to keep the verbiage, kind of like he was speaking over everybody else, using terminology that maybe not every tactically trained individual would understand. And like, he was kind of trying to rush through it. And, if Bradel really takes that through, slows it down, and perhaps even asks Noonan to do more physical, please stand and show exactly how Kelsey was supposed to have been holding this. And, wait a minute, she was moving too. So she not only was doing what you called a tap rack, but she's also, lunging and moving halfway across the room. I don't know. There just seemed to be a lot of things that seemed strange. So maybe there's something in there that'll really trip Noonan up.
I don't know, but him trying to use the big words and the special lingo is not, I don't think it's coming across the way that he's wanting it to.
Yeah.
I don't think that was, it's weird because I only hear people talk like that in the movies. I never hear cops testify with that because they want the jury to understand, or they want the judge to understand what they're saying. They're trained, so they're not going to sit there. And now when he said she had the drop on me, I was like, okay, I knew what he meant because I've seen every Lethal Weapon.
Watch the movies.
Right. And so I'm, then the judge is like, but I'm sure the judge knew too, but the judge wanted him, for the record, was like, what does that mean? So that we're clear here.
Yeah.
And then he says the tactical advantage. Well, how did she have the tactical advantage? This is where I have a problem.
Right.
How does someone have the tactical advantage over you when they haven't even pointed their weapon at you? or even have it ready to fire.
I think what he meant, and again, not to argue in favor of this guy, and the fact that none of us apparently know exactly what he meant is, again, not good for the prosecution. But I think when he said at that point that she had the drop on me or the tactical edge, what he meant was almost like the element of surprise. Like she had the gun ready to go and I wasn't ready. So that never mind the fact that she's, you know, a 5'3" petite woman. She's got the equalizer out and ready to go. I mean, that trumps.
Well, he also said that he saw her reach into the box for the gun. So why didn't he draw his gun then if he's there to secure weapons in the first place?
Bill, you're asking the questions that I imagine the fact-finding judge, when he goes back to deliberate in his mind, will ask. And these are the kinds of things why ultimately it's hard to credit what he's saying with the burden of proof that they have. You know, all the defense has to do is just needle into this and have a judge say, well, I don't know, or and that there's problems just on his direct without any cross. And the problems are enhanced by what he and the lieutenant both say she said, frankly, before and after. And she's going to come in, presumably, and explain what was going on in my head that led me to be distraught. She's obviously going to deny pointing at him. And what's the cross-examination of that going to be? Oh, yeah, that's what you say. I mean, where is this guy going to go when she says I didn't point the gun and try to kill him? And I mean, I don't want to like compare this to other recent trials where you saw defendants get the last word in very effectively, Afro Man. Cross-examination of her could almost, if you take that tone about like coming after her about pointing the gun at him, you may very well be inviting her to give a soliloquy about why would I do that? What I would never do that, this, that, and just go on and on and on. And if they don't ask careful questions, bad things can happen. I mean, I saw this firsthand a year ago when I did a case where a woman was testifying on her own behalf in a very serious case in Queens, and she had been abused by her husband, and she was a hot pistol when she was testifying, very emotional. And this DA was so aggressive with her and just was giving her that Queens attitude and coming at her. And myself and co-counsel were looking at each other like the tempest is going to blow and we're here. And it did. God. And then, you know, the DA tried to like, you know, stop it. And the judge was like, no, you asked, I'm going to, and just let her go. And it was spectacular. And that's the problem you're going to have cross-examining somebody like her. I mean, at some point, all of this emotion, losing my kid, the incarceration, I'm the one who got shot. Why am I the one on trial? It boil over. And I mean, he's got to be
right. It'll answer any question the judge had of whether or not she was suicidal. to just let her go on. I mean, definitely on cross-exam, you know, on daily, when to me it's more important than even the examination of Noonan and potentially the cross-exam of Noonan, because Noonan has a motive to lie about it, obviously.
Well, so does Kelsey.
Yeah. But Kelsey, what Kelsey didn't lie about while she was lying there on the ground dying, she said to Daly, and Daly testified today, and I have it in my notebook here, so it's a quote, "I'm sorry, I want to die."
Yeah. I mean,
they're going to
ball game.
I mean, that's right.
I agree. You have her trying to go and get him to take the stuff downstairs so she could pull the trigger on herself twice. Right. Then you have that statement. What are we doing here?
And that's coming from, to me, Daly, who is a tad bit more credible because he has less incentive to lie. You know what I mean?
No dog in the fight.
He's saying, you know, he's trying to give her aid, and Tim asked him, well, did she say anything? And that is what she said. "I'm sorry, I want to die." and they were just encouraging her to keep breathing, calm down, this kind of thing. And that's what Noonan was saying. He was like, "Oh, we're telling her to calm down." I mean, like, I'm sorry, I have a bullet in my chest, but I'll do my best.
Right.
You know,
I'll keep the noise down. Sorry, I mean, you just shot me.
exactly.
I could see the mighty one in the corner just getting ready to bulldoze all our dreams right now. Go ahead, Mark.
Go for it, Mark.
Look, the fact is they took this to trial, and sometimes when you're a lawyer, you get to eat filet mignon, and that's great. Other times it's ground chuck. This is okay. They're stuck with this, so they have to make do. You got to make the patties, as they say. They're not eating well, and so the point is they have this terrible statement that you just talked about, which occurs after. They have the terrible statements which occurred before, and they're going to have her terrible statement or state of mind during, where she's like, all I wanted to do was kill myself. So now, as the prosecutor, you say, what the hell do I do with this statement of, I'm sorry, I want to die? And you got to
Special prosecutor.
You can't just like do like the Saul Goodman. If you watch Better Call Saul and like
love Better Call Saul,
use force lightning and pretend it didn't happen. It doesn't work. So what they're going to say with a straight face is, yes, sorry. She's apologizing for shooting at Noonan and making this happen. I do hate my life. I hate what's happened. I'm bleeding out here. So I hate it all. You know what? That's what they're going to say.
I know.
And when they say that, that's a ground beef argument. That's not, medium rare filet.
One thing I'm interested in finding out possibly tomorrow is whether Noonan is right or left-handed. I need to kind of go back and digest Noonan's testimony a little better, but there were some elements of things that he said with me simultaneously picturing the layout of the landing upstairs, the doorway, all that made me think to myself, this really would only be making any sense if he's left-handed. Like he said that he was, at one point using the wall next to the doorway to protect himself. Well, there's not enough space to the left. There's only enough space for Cop Santa Claus on the right side of the door. So
he knows damn well that isn't going to protect him from a bullet. Like, that's
right.
insane.
Well, the instinct kicks in sometimes. And
I mean, you see people who get shot in a defensive posture and they'll get bullets that go through their hands because and now obviously that's not going to stop a bullet, but you make do the best you can.
You react in certain ways.
What would you do to protect that secret recipe? Because that chicken is delicious. Dude, like, it is so good. Like, it would do anything. You do anything. I don't blame the guy at all. No, I'm just kidding. But no, I agree with you. I agree with you. I mean,
but yeah, like, so if Santa Cop really did go to the right of the door,
that's it. That's the next name you got. Santa Cop. That's what we're going with. Santa Cop. Santa Cop. Wolf Cop. Santa Cop.
And have to kind of reach around the door frame to fire, and I'm not sure if he was really saying all this occurred at the same time, but I'm wondering if he is right or left-handed, because if he's right-handed, then it makes even less sense than it does, than it did initially. Again, I need to kind of go back through and listen, but
none of it makes sense.
I just disappeared for a minute, so I have no idea what you're talking about. Internet problem. Neil was about to make this grandiose statement after about ordering chicken, and it just went.
Yeah.
You were frozen with with a very surprised look on your face, Mark. You're like, at least you were animated.
Lori, I was wondering if you could take this question for us here. Pro Gamer writes, does she have to sue Justin separately in a civil case to get back what he stole from her accounts? Could the theft come into evidence? Was there the usual investigation into the police shooting? Thank you.
I mean, she could probably file something civilly with it, but she can also deal with it in family court. The difference in family court was something like, because the two of them have like it's not a divorce case, right? Because they were never married, and Massachusetts doesn't really recognize common law marriages. So what we do instead in those cases, when you have people that are living together with property and whatnot, we file equity complaints in the probate and family court, and it could be dealt with that way, because it doesn't look like they're going to be trying to do anything with it criminally. So, and I don't know about the feds. Actually, Lauren had a good guest on this weekend. Was it on Friday, Lauren? You had an FBI prosecutor on?
Former federal prosecutor. Yeah, Nima Rahmani. He's really good. Yeah.
Because I was debating with Grant Smith Ellis, which is stupid of me because, he does way more research than I do. Way more. It's like, I'm like, oh, I Googled that for 5 seconds. Oh, okay. Never mind, Grant. He's like, here's my 8 hours of research. Okay, you win. Anyway, he was saying that if, and maybe Mark actually knows, Mark probably does know the answer to this question. So
people who call themselves towels. No.
Okay, let's take towel out of the equation. But if what he was saying is in the allegations relative to Justin and the criminal activity and the immunity that the prosecutor offered relative to any crimes that he may have committed in breaking into Kelsey's house, and we will offer immunity. That just for anybody listening, that all ended up being moot because Justin's on the stand, off the stand, he's gone. We never got into that. He never had to be dealing with taking the fifth or any of that kind of stuff. So we never had to deal, which is how it should have been, because none of that actually relates to this case whatsoever. But one of the things that had come up in my debate with the towel was, I said, well, that's not going to stop him from federal prosecution if the feds want to investigate the fact that he did this wire fraud and whatnot. Well, what he said was there's case law saying that if immunity is offered in a state case, it does cover federal jurisdiction as well.
So, I'm sure he means well, but the feds will not prosecute small theft. Even if they had the power to do it, the district attorney's office is not getting involved in a $400 theft. They just don't do it. They do in the hundreds of thousands and millions and whatnot. Number two is, I think he's in law school, but he needs to understand dual sovereignty and separation of powers and things like that. A state government has zero power to bind a federal authority. And when the American system of government, the federal government is here. And then there are these other, 51 if you count DC, I guess, other governments that are down here. And, if the state of Massachusetts says we'll immunize this guy in, the Essex County Superior Court, the District of Massachusetts and the U.S. Attorney's Office can say, that's great, we're doing this. The other thing is there are different kinds of immunity. Now, Massachusetts, how they may do it differently, but, you can give full transactional immunity, which is like, we will not prosecute you at all. You can give limited use immunity. We won't use anything you say against you, and But generally, the feds will use use immunity anyway. They won't give you blanket immunity. But he's just wrong. Respectfully, he doesn't know what he's talking about.
Well, tomorrow, Mark, I'm gonna send you in your inbox the 4 hours worth of research. No, I'm just teasing.
My God.
But I do have another question, follow up on that. the fact that obviously it did not come up at all, like it didn't come up today, like Justin didn't need to take the fifth. None of that stuff happened because none of that information came out. It wasn't relevant to today. Does that, the fact that the prosecutor mentioned that in a previous hearing, that he would provide immunity if Justin needed to take the fifth, is that off the table now? Like, could they now prosecute him if they wanted to?
They won't. So, I mean, I think
I
it's
know
all
that, but that's not the good.
I mean, look, if you're representing him, you would say that the government made a promise just by making that statement. I relied
That's what
upon
I'm
them.
wondering.
You know, I subjectively believe that they were offering me something. And the other thing I would say, if I were his lawyer, he did say something incriminating today when finally pushed, after he gave that contrived, canned, you know, name, rank, serial number answer about why he was suspended with that just kind of ludicrous canned statement. When he got, and Tim did what a good lawyer is supposed to do, pick and needle, and, you know, you're not answering my question. And unless I misheard him, I think he did say, yes, I got suspended for smoking stuff. And
yes, he did.
Did it, basically. Now, but again, no one's prosecuting him for that. It's ticky-tack stuff. But if I'm his lawyer, I'm saying, no, they promised me something and I relied upon it.
Well, it's not so much about all the smoking stuff. The prosecution that I'm really speaking of is more like the theft of Kelsey's property from her home, transfer of funds from a bank account, changes of beneficiaries, and all that stuff. Now, she could actually file her own private civil criminal complaint. In other words, like, you know, the process that Aiden's going through in New Jersey, the private criminal complaint, if somebody doesn't want to do that, would that prevent her? Would them offering that kind of immunity in a hearing, not at the trial, that never ended up coming to be because he never took the fifth? I know we're kind of going off the weeds. This is probably a conversation you and I should have on the phone someday, Mark. But you know what I'm saying? Does that prevent her from filing a private criminal complaint to see if the magistrate would pursue that for her?
Again, if she did, his lawyer would say the DA stood up and promised me immunity in exchange for cooperating. And guess what? I testified. I cooperated. I answered every single question asked of me on direct and cross. Now you have to follow through with what you promised me. So, I mean, that's what I would do if I was his lawyer. And by the way, I'd be right.
Yes. Yeah. You always are, Mark. We know that.
Not nearly enough. I mean, she can.
So it would be a civil. So it would end up becoming a civil thing then.
It would,
we do that all the time in the probate and family court. We handle that.
Even if there was no immunity at this point, with so much baggage between the two of them, no prosecutor is jumping into this when he's saying it was a joint account and my money, and she says it was hers, and this and that. I mean, I think it's just like, run away. I'm pretending I don't want to hear.
I was really impressed with how, you know, streamlined, short, sweet, and to the point Bradel was in general with his cross.
Yeah, it was tight.
Justin, I will say there were a couple of things that I probably would have asked, and I'm not an attorney, but, you know, one thing I would have said, especially since this was, you know, fleshed out in his direct, but they were talking about him being at that house the previous night to gather his belongings. And one thing I would have touched on with Justin is, okay, if you were so concerned for the baby and the welfare of that child, why didn't you make any attempt to take the baby with you? You took your belongings, you grabbed your weapons, but you didn't say that you wanted to take the baby with you.
Right.
As a matter of fact, I think Kelsey the next morning was asking Justin to come and take Caden. So, you know,
I think that's why Julie Hess is there. I think she's there and she's making note of all of these things, because all of these things, like what you're saying right now, Britt, are like so relevant in the family court case. Like,
yeah.
they're not relevant in this case, but they are relevant in that case.
Well, I just feel like that would lend more toward kind of this entire thing being pretty disingenuous. That there really was no true concern for what she may do to, maybe not herself, but at least others. And it was touched on with Daly, with what Justin had said in the police department about her possibly harming the baby, and how that may or may not have made the other cops more or less vigilant toward Kelsey. And I was definitely curious about that. And then I maybe would have asked one or two things about what he was doing in the basement, what he did after he heard the shots. But I'm definitely happy that he didn't show disdain for Justin in that cross, because again, a lot of that is gonna be more relevant in family court than in this case. But in general, showing that kind of gnarly attitude toward Justin would make Kelsey look worse to the judge if Bradel had bared his teeth really badly in a cross-examination. And I'll say this too: both Justin and the sister Courtney, they reminded me very much, in not what they said, but in the way that they testified, of Jen McCabe, in that their demeanor showed that they definitely had some kind of an agenda, that there was an overlapping some kind of narrative arching over this whole thing that they wanted to put forward, and their attitude really showed. And it made it to where even if there was nothing that they could be directly impeached on, I didn't think that they came across to the average viewer as being very credible.
She gave me McAlbert vibes, his sister Courtney. For sure, she got up there, you could kind of feel that tenseness, the same tenseness you saw in a lot of those McAlberts, a lot of those, the Nagels, if you remember the Nagels, like a lot of that same vibe I got from her. It was just like, here we go. It's, just the same energy. Completely.
And the prosecution is wanting that stuff out there. I mean, I know that it's not relevant. I know the judge has made it abundantly clear that the issue at hand here is what Kelsey did or did not do in that master bedroom with Noonan. But the prosecution is potentially calling, and I'm not going to say who on the witness list it is, but people who had previously been in dating relationships with Kelsey from long before the baby was even born. So they're definitely trying to bring bad character evidence.
Well, it's all they got.
Kelsey.
That's their only chance. I mean, the facts are simply not on the prosecution side. The facts aren't necessarily on Kelsey's side, but they don't have to be. They have to be on the prosecution side in order to get her convicted. And they're not. There's it's basically, this whole thing is really boiled down to a simple Noonan's word against Kelsey's. And Noonan's word was all over the place today. And he hasn't even been cross-examined yet. So, I mean, and Bradel's got all night to do it, to prepare for it.
Yeah.
So
well said.
I love that for him.
Yes.
Someone in the chat brought up something else that really stood out to me too, about Noonan removing his gloves. He showed up at the door with the gloves on and then said he took them off after getting inside. Has Has anybody who might be in the chat who's been in law enforcement done that before?
So that's the kind of thing, to me, that's a red herring, and I'm not taking the cheese. I mean, I don't know what the deal is with the gloves. I have no idea. Some cops wear them, some don't. But I don't know how that's going to factor into the ultimate issues here. And just to go back to the point, that you were all mentioning a few minutes ago, I've said this before. I am generally a very big proponent of a bench trial for a lot of reasons, and you saw some of it today. This is a reasonable doubt defense based on a lack of proving the elements of the crime. It's very straightforward. It's very streamlined. And then once this was going to be a bench trial, you were going to see what you saw today. I mean, these aliens, whatever you call them, aliens, they're not relevant to this proceeding.
I have another name for them, but go ahead. Sorry.
What is it, Will? We want to know.
It's simple a-holes. I just don't censor myself on my channel. I couldn't pronounce it, so I was like, I'm just going to call him Justin a-hole,
Well, and JA is something anyway, isn't it? Really, JA. Think about it.
Yeah.
Now, I try to keep this show without the foul language, but remember, I can't control what you say within your little box on the screen. So whatever you got to say, feel free. I can't censor you. My hands are tied. I mean, if you want to call them,
you don't have any sound effects.
I just try to play by other creators' rules. Just follow their example on their channel if I can. I try to, I try to take off my shoes before walking into your house if I see your carpet. Nice. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Lori, I liked your idea of what was it, Bustin' Justin or Disgusting Justin?
And the more we see of him, and even his dancing video today, did you see? He had a nice dancing video coming out the door. I wish Mazza could pull it up because I'm sure.
Oh, I'll get it. Oh, believe me, we're getting it up right now. You bet.
I've been wanting to see Will's reaction to Bustin' Justin's dancing video.
He has a dancing video? Oh, I haven't seen that.
Great dancing video coming out the door when he's obviously so concerned for his son's safety. It's unbelievable. The son's nowhere in sight, but
I haven't seen somebody run, trip, and slip like that since Marty McFly when he was being chased by the bear in Back to the Future 3.
Exactly.
I forgot all about that too. That's like the last scene that I would ever come to mind.
Yeah.
All right, let's do this.
Share it up here. All right, let's play it through here. Here we go. All right, so. Whoop.
Wow. Okay.
What is that?
That's someone who carries children out of burning buildings right there.
Yeah.
That's who that is.
Yeah, I know.
What is the concept?
Right.
I did not see. What is this?
So this is right when Justin heard the shots in the house, the gunshots. And at the time, he was rummaging for some items for himself and for the baby in the basement. And he had just pulled out
Laugh at that.
a suitcase or something in the basement, and then you just see him drop everything and dart out the door that leeds directly outside.
Mazza knows that I'm
This
a
is
big
a trained first responder. This is a trained first responder.
Mazza's doing this on purpose. He knows that I'm a big fan of repetition. Like I will just watch that over and over again and laugh.
Will, I put
Getting better.
Where's the Benny Hill music, Mazza? Where's the Benny Hill music?
Well, I put it on a loop on my account.
Someone did do that, but I don't feel like getting hit. I don't feel like getting hit with copyright tonight, Will.
Mine doesn't. It doesn't for some reason. I thought I would get. I thought I would get it, but I never get hit for it.
I have a question. At the time that he's doing this, is there evidence that came out today about his understanding of where his son was?
Yeah, with his sister across the street. Apparently, she took him to the school in the woods because she was so terrified.
Did he know
Well,
that?
but before the gunshots, the sister already left the house because he wanted to go rummaging through the basement. So the sister was already outside the house with the child.
Yeah, and he was aware of that. He walked with the sister. The sister was carrying the baby, and he accompanied her out the door while holding like the car seat and something else.
Right.
But
this man's an EMT.
Yes.
He's a first responder. Yeah.
Terrifying.
Wait, it's worse. Not just first responder. I mean, first responder, yes.
He's an EMT. He's a yes.
A literal EMT who is like triages gunshot or is capable of triaging gunshot victims, and
He's effing airborne school, Mark. He's airborne school. He testified to that.
Yeah.
today.
He was going to be a Green Beret, right?
He's a
And then
Green
he had
Beret.
to.
Except he tripped and fell during the during the training, and
Instead he
Mark
got
out.
high. Instead he got high.
He
Yeah,
probably heard a
exactly.
single gunshot at training, and that's how he got injured. Was running away.
I leaned over
Bravely.
to Lori. I was sitting next to Lori, and I was like, as soon as he got off the stand, I was like, oh, "Don't trip," because there's like a step going down. And we were like, oh my
He's like,
God.
did you see that? Yeah.
Well, I heard today. Well, I heard this morning, allegedly, there was an allegation, allegedly, when Judge Carpet told everyone that was a witness to leave the room. He said, anybody that's a witness, you need to leave the room. And then he saw people leaving, and he noticed, he said to Justin, he goes, you don't need to run out of the courtroom. You can walk, it's not
Don't trip. Don't hurt yourself on the way out.
Slow down, pal. Slow down.
It's okay to walk. You can walk.
I mean, we all saw
Easy
him.
tiger.
His legs were, so
Easy tiger.
he can't hold himself
Will,
up.
is this what they mean when they say you do these petty streams? Is that what we're doing right now?
Oh, well, yeah. This is like the Disney version of a petty stream, but
Yes,
yeah, more or less, yeah.
Oh man.
My God. And that was on the news. That video was on the news. Oh my
It was
God.
on the court.
Yeah.
It was in the court.
Yeah.
I know, but just so it's like out there. Wow.
Well,
Okay.
what was funny was they were having one of the things that was happening today. They were having major technical difficulties because in the state of Massachusetts, even though we have more colleges per square foot than any other state in the country, we have zero ability to have any technology. And I'm sure Mike has appreciated this sometimes when he's there on his cases with Aiden. They couldn't get the videos to work. They couldn't get anything to work. That was probably, I'd say, like all told, about an hour's worth of the day of the clerk pointing the pointer at the control at the thing, and it wouldn't work. And then they had some nice man come up, and he was trying to help. But anyway, one of the things, like Tim was like, well, I really want the court to see this whole loop. They had this whole sequence of videos that they had wanted to play for the court. And Tim was kind of like, I want the court to see this whole thing before I get into my cross-exam of anybody or my case. So that ended up holding things up quite a bit today. But this, I think, was one of the things that we did end up seeing. It was like a whole loop of things.
The mom's reaction to him running away was great too. I wish we had audio for that.
This video though will never top this one video, Mazza, that you did a long time ago, if you recall, of a certain former FBI agent who was creeping around the front yard.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
When I really understood, I'm like, this guy's very creative because
With the cape and the kids.
was it you who added the Pink Panther theme?
Someone else did that. I think I did the Until
Someone
Next
else
Time
did
meme.
that.
That was the one with Skeletor. Yeah.
Okay. I thought, all right, somebody did the Pink Panther, and it was just
Yeah, somebody
Yeah.
did Pink Panther. There-
Oh.
It
See
is
him here in the
driving me
window
crazy
here,
that
right
I
here,
can't
running
remember who it
away.
was.
This is it. This is the mom. Oh, this is great. She's looking
Yeah.
out there like seriously,
Look,
and then
there he
she
is
just
running.
walks right back in.
wow.
Oh my gosh.
That's a tough look for a
And I love the mighty one out here acting like he's not on the hoity-goity tier of the McLaren membership. You know you are. Stop it. Everybody knows you watch. Stop it.
Oh my God.
Oh my word. But yeah, so I mean, he knew that the baby was outside. he had walked right out there with Courtney and the baby and runs like that.
Yeah, like he carries people's gurneys, dude. That's crazy.
And then didn't he also
He's not even good at
say-
the running. That's the whole thing. It's like if he was just
Yeah.
running, that would be one thing. He was more like just tripping.
Didn't he also say too, like when he heard the shots, like his answer was that he was concerned for his sister, and then didn't
baby.
bother saying
The
anything
baby.
about the baby?
Yeah.
I thought the sister was like 500 yards away running.
Yeah.
I
In
remember.
the trees.
I don't
Hiding.
actually. I don't remember him saying it, but I do remember the sister saying she left with the baby across the street, across the school, across the field, hiding behind the forest,
Exactly.
800 miles down the road, and then waited. And
She was far away.
right. I mean, she was very clear about that. Yes.
Yeah.
And how about Noonan's contradictory story about Justin even being there, as far as like why he was supposed to, or how he was going to be there, how he was supposed to be there. Does that make sense? I don't remember exactly word for word for what he said, but he said one thing that was different than another, where he was saying this is what we would do, and then he explained what did happen, and I was like, why did you? That was completely different. And now I feel stupid because I can't think of exactly. I know I heard it. I was listening. I was watching the testimony.
Yeah. Well, I remember him saying that they wouldn't typically show the affidavit to the person that they're serving the RO on. And then I remember, like, I'm trying to help think of what you might be referencing. There was also bringing somebody with mental health training
Yeah.
to the
No.
home?
They said all of them have mental health training.
No, but
What he
they
said.
when Tim cross-examined Daly.
I'll have to listen to it again, and then I'll go over it at some point. But
Yeah,
I
he
know
said
I
there was a
heard it.
social worker on staff that they did not bring. And then that DCF, he talked about the them being mandated reporters because they
Yeah,
read
that
the
was good.
affidavit
Yep.
that Justin brought to them. And the police don't usually, and that is one thing from a family law attorney perspective. When the probate and family court sends over the restraining orders to the local police department, they do just send over the order. They don't send over the affidavit. That doesn't go over to the police department. They do just get the order. But then, it is kind of weird because I'd never really had a case where, in addition to the order being sent over by the probate court, the person getting the order shows up to the police station as well with the order and the affidavit at the same time. It's like, okay, pal, like, you know what I mean? Like, we'll get the order from the court. We don't really need you to come over here. And then there was a lot of like, oh, we don't really know this guy. The alien, we don't really know him. And then it was all like, well, Justin this and Justin that. I don't know if anybody else picked up on that, but it was like, they switched right from like, the alien to like, now they're like on a first name basis. It was all like Justin. So I heard that many times. I wrote that Justin.
I could have sworn that I heard him say something to the effect that Justin, he was going to meet him there or something to that effect. Like, and he was like, well, no, what we were going to do is we were going to bring you the baby. As he told Justin he was going to bring him the baby. But then somehow Justin somehow he described where he was going to meet Justin there after that. After saying that's what they were decided on. Then he goes into not very long after that stating that he contacted Justin or Justin contacted him and they met at the location or whatever. And I was like, wait a minute, what happened to just bringing him the baby?
Yeah.
What's going on here? So I'll have to look into that because I swore that I was listening to it and I go, what? Then how does he think that that's going to sound good?
Yeah.
But if I'm the only one who caught it, maybe I misunderstood it. So
I haven't
Maybe.
slept in 48 hours, so I'm not the one to catch it.
Yeah.
Oh,
You
Lauren,
look
I know
fabulous.
how rough it is to travel up there from Florida. there's just no there's no direct flights. You've
Oh no,
got
I
to.
had a direct flight, but like it was just the TSA thing, and I was there at 2 a.m. and then it was
Oh.
the whole thing, and
Oh word.
4 hours waiting, and it was a whole thing. But anyways,
Well, you get some rest. I'm so happy you're up there.
yes, it's great to be here.
So, Mark, are you coming on Wednesday, you think, then?
Yeah, I'm coming on Wednesday.
Okay, cool.
An abundance of caution. I canceled an offsite meeting beforehand because of this TSA nonsense to make sure I'm, at the airport, with a good 8 hours to spare before the flight takes off. And what I'm really, this needs to end because when I come back, I have a flight next week going out west that's at 6 a.m. and unless I'm planning on getting to the airport at 11 at night, we can't have this. So I'm hoping.
Oh, maybe it was Daly. Maybe it was Daly. Sorry about that. Yeah, maybe I heard it was Daly's testimony where I heard that.
Yep.
That will-
And he did. Yep, you were right. He was all over the place with that.
You were going to say it was the left shoe.
No, it was. No.
Yeah,
I'm not letting that go. I'm not letting that go.
I'm coming out, Wednesday, and I was going to go up there Thursday, but I don't think there's going to be a trial on Thursday at this pace.
I think it might finish on Wednesday. I really do. The day started out slow, and some of it was like technical difficulties and that kind of thing. But then once they got moving, and especially towards right before the break, the lunch break, and then after, you really got the sense the judge was kind of like, yeah, I'm kind of on Attorney Bradel's side where we're not opening the store. We're not going to be we're not doing all this other extraneous stuff that really is irrelevant. And so although he did a couple of sidebars and he said, I'll overrule the objection based on what we talked about. And it seemed like based on what he talked about was like, you can't ask any of those questions. Mm-hmm. So that worked out great. And since they did all that stuff, everything started just moving along really, really quickly after that, because you're already through the main, who is the primary witness in this entire case? Well, Noonan. Kelsey, if she testifies, and Noonan. And we're already halfway done with Noonan. I don't know who else is going to come on. You'll have Kelsey's parents, I assume, or her mom, because she was at the scene, testify. Yeah. And it seems like anybody that was there, they seem to, including Noonan, seem to be saying the same thing. Kelsey, don't do it. Kelsey, don't do it. Nobody has said they heard him say, drop the gun. Nobody said they heard him say gun or anything like that. Everybody actually said, drop the gun. They heard her say, don't do it. Heard him say, don't do it. That's what everyone has testified to so far. Yeah. If anybody was going to say something different, you would think it would be Noonan. And he already did his direct examination. His direct examination is done. Tomorrow's cross-examination, and he's the main witness. I don't know, Mark. If you don't make it for Wednesday, you ain't going to make it, pal.
No, I'm Wednesday. I'm coming in. I've got dinner plans with a friend. So no, Wednesday I would not come up there. Thursday possibly. I've got work to do. I'm bringing with me anyway, so that's fine. I can bill away, do some work Friday night. Going to the Celtics game, Mazza, Friday night.
Nice.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Guess Atlanta. No, I ideally would have gone to the Wednesday OKC, right? But and then Saturday, fly home for one day, and then go to the airport, at 10 o'clock at night for my 6 a.m. flight on Sunday. Yeah, or Monday.
How long do you think the judge is going to take to rule once he rules on this? I mean, I guess it could vary from 10 minutes to 2 hours.
I've had this happen multiple ways. I will never forget a bench trial I had that was being covered in the New York tabloids years ago. It was a silly misdemeanor about a woman, a violinist who was accused of slapping a doctor at Trader Joe's on the Upper West Side. It was like national news about invading space. But the judge in that case was a very
he was probably just fiddling around.
Let's see what you did there.
She had very photogenic and loved the cameras and whatnot. So she was going to roll from the bench. She said, okay, I will take, a 15-minute recess and come back. And that's what she did. And she came back and, she had clearly like did up her hair and makeup and announced her verdict essentially right there. Another one, the one I was talking about earlier, guy issued a decision a month later. He shall take advisement.
Wow.
But that was a month-long trial, by the way. But he
Okay.
held it and then he did it. So I think in this case, he'll go back and come back within a few minutes is my gut feeling. I mean, he did say something interesting today. Not every judge will state the basis for their thinking. I think that's very transparent. That's good. He knows the case is of public interest. And of course, that'll subject him to criticism for whatever side you're on. You come in second. But if he's going to really express his thought process, that could make him take a little longer than otherwise just coming back and saying, okay, I find you not guilty and everybody go home. Or guilty, whatever.
It was so good to like he was taking so many notes. He was asking questions. Like it's just a totally different feel, which I feel like we all need just in Massachusetts history of all the judges. And it seems like he genuinely wants to know the truth, and it's refreshing.
Yeah.
I thought he was extremely fair, very fair.
Very professional. He seems very fair. And as a lawyer, that's all you want. You want.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all you need.
All you can ask for. You don't need someone who's going to be in the tank for or against you. And he seems fair. He's respectful.
Very.
That's all you can ask for. So that's
both
good.
sides. He's been decent to everybody and very polite and decent to all the witnesses that come up. I mean, I don't think anybody can really complain about his demeanor at all.
No.
He's a breath of fresh air from the last one.
Yeah, it seems like this is the kind of case that is perfect for a bench trial with the right judge. And this guy seems like the right judge. Because when it comes down to comes down to, okay, is there any doubt in this story? You want that left up to a judge who understands the law and understands the burden of proof, right?
Sure.
And you definitely want it from a judge who has been behaving the way this judge has. So
yeah, I mean, look, I love bench trials, but I mean, there's always an asterisk. It has to be the right judge. I mean,
right.
I know if you go back, God knows how long ago, back when everybody had nothing else to do but talk about Karen Reed and that kind of stuff, that and this was before I had any interest in that professionally. For a period of time where I said, I thought this is before the first trial, I think that this would make a good bench trial if you had a different judge. So to your point, I mean, obviously you don't do a bench trial in that case in front of Canone for probably a number of reasons. But if you go back to that case and, it's a scientific defense in terms of reasonable doubt, a judge who is applying facts and law and without emotion and all this other stuff is going to be, no question, influenced by engineers, doctors who are basically establishing, there's no vehicular impact, where, with a jury, you never know what could happen, with emotions and whatnot. But this case, too, I think was tailor-made for a bench trial. There's reasonable doubt here. You don't have to pick a side. You can put all the other stuff, the drama, to the side. If they don't have a case and you're making a defense on the elements of the crime and you just want the law followed, doesn't mean a jury can't do it. I'm not anti-jury, but if you're a lawyer, to risk minimization, right? That's the goal. If you think I have it, then I want to just deal with a judge who gets it and say, I have it.
Yeah.
And that's what they're doing, or they're going to do.
Well, and then just in some of the things that we saw the DA filing in this case, especially when it came to, the security video and the things that were alleged with the bank accounts and the beneficiary changing and stuff like that, it was pretty clear that had they gone with a jury trial, it was looking like the prosecution may have tried to take advantage of the jury's ignorance of certain things with the law, like the burden of proof and things like that, reasonable doubt. There's always going to be a certain level of they always say you never know what a jury's going to do, right? So and a lot of people go in with a preconceived notion with any defendant. So from some of the things that ADA was saying in those filings, it looked to me like he would have perhaps tried to take advantage of that. So I'm
his
really
whole
glad
game
that
plan's been shattered by this bench
Yep.
trial. I mean, you can just tell. I mean, the way he performed, I just saw, I felt that Gubatosi's whole game plan was just flipped on its head by Bradle going with this bench trial, getting that whole thing shifted, because that's exactly what I was concerned about. I wasn't concerned about the jury. If there had been a jury trial coming back with a guilty verdict, I was concerned about Karen Reed trial 1, where you have a jury that doesn't come back with a definitive verdict.
Yep.
Yeah, and if you could point out to the judge, as a defense attorney, in theory, I would imagine that, okay, well, why is the prosecution more focused on defending Noonan than it is on prosecuting Kelsey here? If they have such an airtight case, why the need? Makes no sense. So, I mean, if there's a way to paint that picture, which I'm sure, a skilled defense attorney would do that, I would assume so. If there's a way to paint that picture, it's a no-brainer. That's it.
Again, there's ground beef he's got to work with here, so he has to work.
But a great defense attorney, such as you or Tim, I know I could take some chuck with the right seasoning, and you won't know the difference except for the texture. It's filet mignon. That's all I'm saying. I could do some wonders with some sazon completo, a little adobo. You know what I'm saying? Like it'll taste delicious.
But what about spam, Will? How are you? Are you good with spam?
Yeah, dude. Listen, man. I have made PB&J. I have made PB&J with taco shells because we didn't have any bread. Okay, I've done that because it can be done because it needed to be done.
But does it taste good?
It does when it's all you got. But that's irrelevant to what we're talking about here. What we're talking about here is, can you take ground chuck and make it taste really good?
Well, here's how they do that. And again, I'll defend the prosecutor for purposes of I recognize what he's trying to do, but again, he's playing a losing hand. Of course, they're trying to defend Noonan, but in a legal sense, what they're doing is we need him to be credible. We're trying to make him credible, because if he's not a perfect witness, they're cooked. They're done, and they're going to eat raw ground beef, okay? And they're going to
and like it.
Asking him about the report card he got in the 5th grade from Mrs. Whatever, and tell us about the day school you went to and the time you got a big wheel for Christmas in 1980.
Seriously, though.
I remember when I got a big wheel for Christmas.
But also, all that background about his training, because they're trying to argue this guy was a professional. He assessed the situation and he was acting reasonable. Why would he say she did this if she didn't? And that's what they have to deal with. So what else are they going to do? The alternative is they're going to be playing these, videos of him slip sliding, running out of the house.
We could use a Coolio song. You could use a Coolio song. Slide, slide, slippity slide. You get that song.
It is telling, though, that a majority of Gubatosi's opening statement was telling us all about Noonan and Noonan's training and Noonan's career and all the great things Noonan has done and how he wouldn't react in a certain way. That was the majority. I thought Gubatosi's opening statement, if I was rating it, I'd say it was like a 3 out of 10. And I thought Tim's was up like 8, 9.
I was watching Rakeda when they were going through his resume pretty much. And like he was like, who cares? He was like,
I know, right? It was kind of like, all right, we get it.
I love Racket so much.
When you do a bench trial, you tone it down a little bit. Some judges, not all, some will let you try the jury case. Other judges will be like, stop screaming at me. Like there's no jury. Like when you're done, when you're done swinging from the chandelier, like tell me what you
right.
You're not performing for me.
So, on the other hand, though, like that opening statement was embarrassing. I mean, he's got to grab the fact finder and like snap his fingers and get his attention, and he dug into all that. With Tim's was good, but I actually got a really good laugh out of it because you're so used to doing jury trials. And the one thing he forgot to do was, by the way, may it please the court is a very classic lawyer formal.
Yeah, right. Ladies and gentlemen. Yeah.
But, that's mostly what you do in front of a jury, but you do it with a judge too if you want. But when he was thanking everyone and he said, ladies and gentlemen, there were no ladies and gentlemen.
I took that personally. I thought he was talking to me. I was like, but I will say
his brain was on like how I usually do it.
Yeah.
He's
like in jury mode.
The may it please the court thing was because the judge was distracted doing something else. If you were in the courtroom, you could see that the judge was kind of distracted. And then like Tim was it was almost Tim's way of saying, may it please the court, can I go forward now? Like, are you ready now for me to talk?
From what he heard for 10 minutes prior. I mean, it was not exactly riveting.
Yes.
I remember when they said sidebar, but everybody was like loud. And I was like, okay, that's right. There's no jury in there. So it doesn't really matter.
Right.
I was pretty flabbergasted when Gubitosi seemed to forget that there was a judge there on the
that was funny.
That was great.
Who was it? It was Daly, right?
Yes.
Daly,
oh man, that was something.
Right.
Didn't ask, sir, may I redirect, please? He just
like, I mean, you get one chance. You get one chance on the redirect, and then he's like, Tim crosses, and then he's like, he just stands back up again, and the judge was like, are we redirecting now? And then it was funny. We all were laughing because then he says to Tim, do you want to recross?
Yeah.
and as any good lawyer knows, when the judge says to you, do you want to recross? What's the answer, Mark?
No, you say no.
Polite way of saying, sit down.
Yes, exactly. You don't want to do that.
Sit down, Mr. Gubitosi.
Exactly.
One of the moments I thought Bradel had today that I thought was one of his many great moments, but I thought was really kind of clamped down on Courtney was about the video about entering the home. He had her kind of all primed up, but she said a cop let him in, but then they got the video queued up and got that playing, and it doesn't show anything. They show them walking in that side door, but then she claimed that they walked up to that other door that is coming towards you and is to the opposite side there, and claimed the officer let them in there. What did you guys think about that moment by Bradel and the response by Courtney?
It was good. It was a good, I'm sorry, whoever, it was a good, just kind of test of her credibility thing. That's what I thought. Just like a little, I don't really think it mattered that much, but she was before that seeming like so certain on all the facts and whatnot. And then he showed her video evidence of the fact that she was actually incorrect.
Yeah, I triggered a lot of, the trolls today by just saying, watching. I saw this exchange
again,
and I said, why are you dying on the hill of how you came in the house? First of all, this entire witness's testimony is meaningless. Like 100%.
Really, totally.
Is meaningless. Why is this happening? Why are you fighting over this? And I guess the triggering part was I said it's kind of given me flashbacks to that Katie McLaughlin friend versus acquaintance. Like,
Oh yeah.
Yep.
enough of this. Like it just and it just and again, it doesn't matter. I mean, at the end of the day, her testimony matters as much as the gum on the bottom of your shoe. It just it doesn't matter.
Yeah. I mean,
But-
it just lends to that thing where almost like Kelly Dever, you know, like it really wasn't what she said. It was in her demeanor and this like white knuckling and clinging on to her story and what she's wanting to say. And it just completely deflated her credibility for me.
Right. And plus, like, I mean, this whole like soliloquy she delivered about like, you know, Bustin' Justin's my best friend and I just love him so much and he's the best guy in the whole world. And he's like, and like even Tim had to be like, objection, judge. Like we've heard enough of it.
This is like a
Yeah,
freaking
yeah.
eulogy, like-
You're not playing for a jury, you're playing for the judge. And it's like, okay, you know, you seem like really close for a brother and a sister. I'm just gonna leave that there.
It's
like
super
a little
weird.
too much, a little super close. Okay.
She oversold for sure. Yeah. Yeah, someone said it here. He's the kindest person I know. The kindest person I know is what she said.
And you know who else said he was so kind? Do we remember Katie from the North Andover place? You're just so kind to everyone, Justin. You're just
I've been
so
thinking
kind.
about you.
I've been thinking about you. You know, well, like, yeah, you're so kind.
Jeez.
Until
And
he
then he
wanted to
forgets her name.
escalate that matter.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah, I loved that he forgot her name though. So like here she is, like so thirsty for
How
him.
sad.
And then he called her Crystal. Like I talked to Crystal yesterday.
You ever notice, like, even in movies, you don't really trust brothers and sisters who get along really well? Like, you never do. Like, think about it. Like, look at
Yeah, like Game of
DiCaprio and that
Thrones.
lady in
Yeah.
Django Unchained. Like, where's my
Yeah.
beautiful sister? And they're like the most
Yeah.
evil people in the world, right?
Yeah,
Like,
and then
it's always. And then
Cersei
you
and
question.
Katie in Game
And
of
then-
Thrones too.
I
Oh,
never watched
yeah.
it.
Let's not go there, Brett.
But there's what do you call the
Best. Wow.
Gone Girl. Like
Yes,
the fact
yeah.
that him and his sister were so close
That's right.
made you wonder, like, is this guy suck or what? Like, is he Scott Peterson? Like, what's
Uh-huh.
going on here? Like you just don't trust it. I don't know what it is. You don't.
No,
It doesn't
it's
help
weird.
that they-
It's so weird.
All live in the same house in their 30s and late 20s.
Right. Somehow there's always something
It's
weird
a
going on.
3-bedroom house, by the way. It's a 3-bedroom house, and they've
Right.
got like
Oh.
So who
three
has the
adult
bunk beds?
children and a
I don't
baby.
know.
and-
I kind of had flashbacks of niceness when they were talking about living in Stowe, and I'm like, wow, when I was a kid, Stowe meant one thing. It's where we went apple picking every year. All the orchards are, if I recall. And back where I grew up, we would, we're going to Stowe to go apple picking. But I didn't. Well,
Did you bring your sister? That's what we really.
yeah, because we were a family. So my sister and I, my
And
parents.
she was like 7, but that's beside the point.
So many horrible jokes coming to mind that are just not gonna.
Oh, it's bad.
I'll get the censor button ready for you. We'll go right ahead and tell the.
Oh, I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it.
Anyway, so what do we expect tomorrow? You think, Mark, on Noonan's Cross, and do you think who else do you think we're going to see?
We'll see.
Well, Kelsey, I'm talking about the Commonwealth.
Oh yes, I see what you mean.
Houston's
Yeah,
been
that's a good point,
outside since openings, so he's just there getting in me and Emily C's conversation. So he'll be there tomorrow waiting to
Who's that?
testify again. Houston.
Houston,
That
yeah,
was one of
Houston
the-
still needs to go, which I thought it was the timing do you find it odd that they had Noonan? I mean, this case is really about Noonan and Kelsey in the room and what happened in that room.
That's it.
Right. Do you think it's odd, Mark, that there were 3 police officers that went? We had Daly testify first. And before we have this Houston character, we have Noonan come in. Do you think that timing is odd? Can you maybe theorize on why that would go in that order?
To just kind of hide him in the middle and make him have less of a visual impact, get the testimony out, and then use it in summation. You know, they're still going to get it out, but maybe give less of a, you know, we're concerned he's going to get damaged on cross. I mean, look, different prosecutors do it different ways. I mean, to me, a guy like him, I'm either laying the foundation leading up to the grand performance of him, or some prosecutors might call him right out of the gate and just club you over the head and say, here's the case, and then fill in after that.
Mm-hmm.
I can understand why they wanted to call this guy Daly first. It's kind of like the background foundation witness, but I thought that came off very funky. Again, I think he helped the defense. I thought his demeanor was a little not great. He just seemed a little, I don't know, on cross, his demeanor change, which you never want to see. You know, you've got to be even keeled on direct and cross. And then to follow him up with not only the Alayans, but, you know, they had nothing to offer. So they fell into that kind of rut. Most people probably expected, you know, this hour blistering, rip his head off cross, and were probably disappointed when it didn't happen. I got it completely. I thought it was the right move because it just doesn't matter.
Right.
And then it kind of forces them to call, you know, the next guy up, who's Noonan apparently, and they're kind of done. And it feels flat. It feels disjointed. It feels like
anticlimactic.
It feels like this case is actually boring. And
it's boring. It's like this, like you were waiting for, like, I thought really Noonan would come in at least like at some point tomorrow. But whenever like they were like, okay, here's Courtney and Justin. Oh, and here's Noonan, the main witness in the case. We're calling him. And it was just so flat. It was his entire testimony was flat. And I'm like, I'm assuming this would be your star witness. I mean, it's your most important witness. It's your most, would you agree that that's the most important witness?
He's the only witness that matters for them.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm like, where are we going from here? If this is the best you've got,
that's the summation, is that it rises and falls with Noonan literally being so credible that he establishes everything beyond a reasonable doubt, and that Fitzsimmons is so not credible that it's not even plausible. I mean, so the rest of them are just, they're window dressing. I mean, the Alayans are completely irrelevant.
Right, irrelevant.
The other cops ostensibly are there to kind of try to corroborate as best they can, boost the credibility of Noonan. But when they're saying that she's, you know, Noonan is saying, don't do it, Kelsey, and then they describe her lying on the ground, half dead, saying, I'm sorry, I wish I was dead. You kind of scratch your head and say, what are you doing? Like,
right. If anything, I really did feel Daly was good for Kelsey's case.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah. I mean,
Confirmed wanting to, die, and then also he couldn't answer the DCF question at all. He absolutely stumbled on that.
Anything the prosecution does that can be used to enhance the defense theory and poke holes and support their claim of reasonable doubt, that ain't good. And they did that with Daly.
I thought Tim did a great job with it. I thought he did a really good job of making his points on the cross and then sitting down.
Yes.
I thought that was fantastic.
Yes. I mean, the way trial lawyers talk about it is, the expression is hit and move on. And that's what you're supposed to do. I mean, it's not, there's a time for summation, get the evidence, particularly in bench trial. There's no one to impress with your floral language and twirling around, staring at the jury and this and gesticulating. You just point, you hit, you move on. and sit down and, you keep everyone's attention, keep them watching. And so he did a good job at that today. And, the heavy stuff, I assume, will come tomorrow, because they're heavy doesn't mean it has to be yelling or aggressive, but I mean, there's some tough questions that this guy's going to have to explain, which I'm going to be very interested to see if I can see some of it tomorrow. I've got appointments and all day, but
How dare you?
I'll tape it for you.
Yeah.
I have a question for Mark and Lori. So, obviously Kelsey's mother, Miss Page, she was present. If the Commonwealth does not call her and she's called by the defense, is that suggestive of anything to either the jury or the judge, just whoever the fact finder is?
Suggestive that she's not being called by the,
yeah. So like, let's say the Commonwealth calls everybody who was there. They call the Alayans, they maybe call one or two people who weren't present as well, just for other fluff and foo-foo to make Kelsey look bad. But then they don't call Lauren Page.
Right. Well, I'm going to let Mark answer because he is the criminal attorney, but I would just say that if it was a jury trial, I would think it matters more. With a judge trial, he's not going to make inferences, I don't think, personally, on people that don't get called. I don't think he's going to make those leaps to say what they would have said, or, the fact that they weren't called. But Mark, what's your thinking?
Yeah, there's no inference to draw. She's not going to be a missing witness. She's available to both sides. She's there.
Right.
One could argue that her testimony is cumulative to the issues, or that she doesn't really have any information. So, if I'm the defense, the first question is, why am I calling her? And if there's a reason, I'd call her. But if it's just going to be to try to add some sympathy with the judge, I'm not sure I'm doing that. Maybe with a jury, but you're calling Kelsey. And so I don't know that I would call her mother just to say, my daughter. At the end of the day, does she have anything of evidentiary value or not? And when you don't want to just call witnesses for the sake of calling them, because there is cross-examination that leads to God knows what. And you're in the business of risk minimization. And if you are winning already, then you don't do things that you don't need to do. And so, I don't know the case as well as all of you, but the mother is not a witness to what happened. I don't think she's a witness to any admissible excited utterances. I don't think she has anything. I don't know. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I don't know.
I think the only thing that she would be able to testify to is what she heard Officer Noonan shout. So my thing is, if her testimony, like you said, Mark, is going to be cumulative of Kelsey, don't do it, and you've already heard it from witnesses on the prosecution side who would be better for the defense that they said it. I don't really see the point here.
E plus witness who said it, meaning the key prosecution witnesses are telling you what I don't need to call mom, who's like a C- witness, because she's Kelsey's mother. It doesn't mean she's lying, of course not, but she has an interest in the outcome, and her motivation is to help her daughter. No, I'm not calling her. I'm basically trying to get them all off and on, and look at the judge and say they got nothing.
Like quit while you're ahead.
I'm not calling the mother. That's all she's there for. I don't know that if I'm the defense, I'm doing anything other than at this point, I think they've committed and rightfully are going to call.
I think that might be the only defense witness. I think the only defense witness may be Kelsey.
I don't know who else they would call for what purpose.
I don't know either, because nobody else was there. He basically cut the evidence out. What else could you ask for? Everybody's saying, Kelsey, don't do it. Kelsey, don't do it. And an utterance from Kelsey herself that was like, I'm sorry, I just wanted to die. I just want to die. I don't know.
Yeah. Basically, at the end of the day, if the judge is stuck going, I don't know who to believe here, he has to
Right.
find her not guilty. Period. That's it.
Here's what's fascinating. So the way the law works with like admissions and hearsay, if the defendant makes a statement, the prosecution can offer it as an admission. It's a party admission said by the other side, but the party who said it can't necessarily offer it. So in other words, if it never came out that whoever Daly is the one who said, she said, I'm sorry, I want to die. That was Daly.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
Daly,
that
yeah.
was Daly.
If Daly doesn't say that, and then Kelsey tries to say that, the prosecution would object and say that's hearsay because it's not being offered against her. Now it's out there. Okay. It's in evidence.
Would it be a dying declaration though, Mark?
I mean, they would have to argue that. Now,
Come on.
no, because, first of all, she's available. That's a declarant unavailable.
No, but I'm saying like at the time she made it, she was shot in the chest.
Yeah, but the declarant's available. It was a statement.
Yeah.
The declarant's available.
Let's ask Towel.
Yeah.
That's going to be hearsay. But I guess the point is now it's in evidence. It's out there. And now they've opened the door for him to say, you heard evidence of that statement. Tell us your state of mind behind it.
Right.
I mean, if they want to do that, they don't have to do that. Prosecution could cross-examine her about that. I'm not sure I would do that either. But ultimately, I think you call her and you pack up your bag, you sum up and go home.
Yeah.
Mr. Sorry, just real quick. People are asking if Kelsey lied about where the gun location of the guns are. All we know is that the officers are claiming that's what she told them. We haven't heard that from Kelsey firsthand. So
she's going to have to testify to that, though, I would assume.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I don't know. I mean, and again, it just kind of goes into her narrative of like, I just wanted to end my life. I tried to remove them from the situation. I gave Noonan books to bring downstairs. She was trying to get rid of them. She wasn't trying to harm them. She wanted to get rid of them so she could do what she felt she needed to do at that point, as horrible as it was, you know? And I mean, I'm going to go on the record as saying, like, I mean, in a way, I'm grateful to Noonan for shooting her, because if he didn't shoot her, she may have shot herself and she might not be here, you know? And that, I know that's a big stretch with this. And it's like, I don't really have anything against the guy, but I'm saying, like, if she was able to chamber that round again and get that gun to her head again, and she might not be here. Yeah. So, you know, something stopped that from all happening. And he's not the one on trial here. It's Kelsey's on trial. We're not really for this particular case, we're not looking at his actions and whether, you know, he should have, he shouldn't have. It's really about, did she point the gun at Noonan? That's really what it's about.
Lauren, you wanted to jump in?
I was just going to ask Ms. Redder if he saw the stuff before opening statements, where basically Bradel was saying they didn't get all of their.
Yeah,
yeah, that was weird.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
And to me, my first reaction was, what the hell is wrong with this state? Why does this happen in every case and high profile case, which is even more shocking because when the lights are shining brightest, you'd think there'd be less. So what do you think's happening in the darkness? And, you know, just some case of, you know, some mope that no one's ever heard of who's on trial for this. And
Yes.
I mean, this is awful because, so from what I understand from watching today, the town police department commissions their own essentially internal investigation with an outside counsel, if you will, to investigate, was this a good shooting, whatever. And during that, what do? They interview all these witnesses. They're either transcribed, they're recorded, they're memorialized in some way. And from all of that, they generate a report, which is really somebody making an editorial decision to add what they want, what they believe, to support their conclusion from the witness statements. And then they wrap it up, they put a bow tie on it. And as you all know, 99.99% of the time, they deliver to the client. You're off the hook, all of you. You did a wonderful job. Congratulations. Okay, fine. So the prosecution is aware of it. The defense is aware of it. There are witness statements made by important people, like, guys named Daly and Noonan that, I don't know, seem kind of important to what's happening. And so they turn over the report to the defense, but they don't turn over the original source statements, which are going to be this big. And the summary of their statement in the report may be like this big. Well, you kind of want the missing amount, and you don't get to decide for defense what's important, what you may want to use. And so you find out they don't turn it over, and the DA argues it's not in our possession, custody, or control, which is the key in order to obligate you to disclose it. And this is remarkable because it may literally not be in their possession. We don't have it literally, but it's in their custody because the DA is responsible for the police. I mean, that's like due process treaty.
Yeah.
And the police commissioned this report.
They hired them.
Yeah.
Right. So clearly it is in their possession, custody, and control, which obligates them under Rule 14 in Massachusetts to disclose it. And depending on the contents, it may very well, some of it be exculpatory or what they call giglio material. Either way, it has to be disclosed. As bad as all of that was, that's not even the worst part of the exchange. The worst part of the exchange is when the judge asked the prosecutor, just tell me what's going on. And he says, well, there's a report. We gave it to them, but we don't have the statements. And the judge says, well, is it in your possession, custody, or control? And he says, no. Now, whether you believe that or not, well, that's not even the worst part either. What the prosecutor at that point was telling you, I don't really give a shit. I don't care. I don't even want to know what those statements are. Who cares?
Right. We're not. It's not like we're trying to get to the truth or anything here, Your Honor.
Figure out if you know how to get it, even though they were obligated legally. But put that aside. You had a prosecutor with no intellectual curiosity of the strength and weaknesses of his own case, whether there could be problems that are catastrophic and there are inconsistencies. No one who takes his professional responsibility seriously to say, I'm obligated to do this. And even if it's bad, I have to turn it over. But more importantly, you should want to know. I mean, it may lead you potentially to reevaluate, what am I doing here? Or I'm really troubled by what Noonan said. How do you have no interest in saying, well, wait a minute, go to the police and say, what do you mean you don't go? The famous line, detective, go detect something. Go get me the statement.
Right.
Well, and then isn't there now, there's like they've strengthened Rule 14 now, the duties of the prosecution. So they have to actively seek out. It's not just a matter of, oh, well, if I don't have it, then I can't turn it over. I can't turn over what I don't have, right? They have to actually go, and anybody who is within the orbit.
Well, there's a prosecution team, which is now defined in Massachusetts under the guidance of Judge Beverly Cannone, if you ever heard of her. If the prosecution team includes police officers who work on the case or involved, it includes witnesses. They are on the prosecution team. And if the defense brings it to your attention, at a bare minimum, they are obligated to investigate by asking members of the prosecution team, if there's a good faith reason to believe this evidence exists, why don't I have it? And do you have it? And clearly the prosecution team has it. And so they didn't do that. So they are obligated to do this. They are obligated to disclose it. But in the first instance, why do you not care? Don't you want to know what your case is, man?
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. The statements from the main people involved, like you don't want to have the full statements. You don't want those. And what did you think about the judge? Basically the judge's solution is send out a subpoena. I mean, we're like day one of trial. Like, seriously?
I still get culture shock from personal experience and also from watching other of these Massachusetts cases.
Oh,
where
stop picking on us, Mark. You want to come over. You know you do.
laissez-faire attitude about discovery
Join us, Mark.
and grading
Come on,
material
Mark. It's a
in
cult.
Massachusetts that just shocks the hell out of me. I mean, I just, again, I can only go from my own experience. If there was a huge trial starting, in Manhattan today on a case like this, and we're talking about there are statements of Noonan that they've known about and haven't disclosed despite us asking, the shit would hit the fan. There would be sanctions potentially. There would be all kinds of bad things happening. And generally what you see in Massachusetts is like, I mean, whatever, we'll, you take cream in your coffee. I mean, there just seems to be case after case, this general, it's part of the culture. And if you find out after the fact, we'll deal with it then. And I'm just, you see these examples all the time. It's not just this case. One of the most stunning examples, was in the middle of Karen's first trial with that famous inverted video.
Yeah.
I remember at the time, kind of being unwise to the Massachusetts method fully at that point. People asked me what happened. I said, this is mistrial. Like, what do you mean? I mean, that's what would happen in New York. Like, are you kidding me? In the middle of trial, you don't turn over evidence this critical on top of the fact that, it's essentially tampered with, or, and then he testified falsely about it. Not there. I mean, the answer was, call your next witness. So,
nobody seems to care.
Some people said it could have been brought up earlier. I don't know the story behind that, if it was or it wasn't. But either way, the trial is ongoing, and at least Daley is off the stand. He was asked about it. He said he read from his report, but he never had the statement to fully impeach him with. And if he doesn't have Noonan's statement and has to cross-examine him without that, and we don't even know what's in it, that's not how due process is supposed to work.
Yeah, and there's been about, I want to say at this point, 8 or 9 further notices of discovery with multiple documents per notice that have been filed since the certificate of compliance was filed in February, which was post-dated to December of 2026.
Oh my gosh.
They're uniquely Massachusetts thing. Like deadlines mean, well, until the next deadline that we break, and then we just move the goalpost. I mean,
Right.
Where I come from, yes, they have a certificate of compliance. There are rare circumstances where they come into other evidence that they were unaware of or they didn't have, and they file a supplemental certificate of compliance, and then they have to explain why they're doing that. Here, it's
Right.
just whatever. Trust me, bro. This is everything.
Right here, it's more like, oh shoot, he found something else, and now we got to go digging through our files and see if we have that, or we have it, and I guess now we have to give it to him because he actually realized that we may have this, which is, as you know, as a defense attorney, Mark. I mean, that's just ridiculous. You can't know all the things that they have. That you just can't.
I can't believe that there's a case being tried where this guy Noonan may have made statements to investigators associated with the North Andover police, who are associated with the Essex County DA, and in which we don't even have any idea what he said, and have no idea to gauge whether it is consistent, inconsistent, exculpatory, God knows what. And what happens hypothetically, it's been brought to everyone's attention. It kind of got tabled, I think, if I understand. Everyone's just like, we'll deal with it later. Well, later is now. The guy's going to be cross-examined tomorrow.
Right.
What happens if she gets convicted? I'm not saying she will. I don't believe she will.
No, but yeah, point
She gets
taken.
convicted, then you get the statement, a week from now, and it's materially inconsistent with what he said at trial, and it was not available for cross-examination. and then you say, we alerted you to this, and now you have an appellate issue and the judge is unhappy, she's unhappy, the system looks like a joke again. I don't know how this could keep happening. It makes no sense.
And yet here we are.
Chinatown.
Yeah. Tell me
You
about
know
it.
you want to come because remember, Mark, I told you at Capitol Grill one evening, we don't have any CLEs. Come on over. It makes it so much easier.
When I heard that was incredible. I don't know any other state that does not have continuing legal education requirements. And I have looked into getting admitted to Massachusetts, and it's easy. You basically write a check, recommendation. But I've looked into
Kill babies, drink their blood. Yeah.
I looked into another state where I'm exploring getting admitted, and as you'd expect, you have to take a course in that state's law right out of the gate. You have to commit to taking, every cycle, every 2 years of X many hours of this. I'm already
the ethics hours too. I have that problem in Rhode Island.
New York, you have to take this many ethics, and of that many ethics, this many have to be in diversity, inclusion, and of this many hours of this. And in New Jersey,
they're not cheap.
They're not cheap. And in New Jersey, some of it must be in person, and this and that. And it's just
yeah. But you don't have any of that in Mass, so doesn't that isn't that appealing to you, Mark? Don't you want to come?
Well, that part is appealing to me, but we'll see.
Question here: when Kelsey cleared her firearm in a jam, did they find a round in her gun in the ground in her room after she cleared her weapon and it was ejected for weapon? It was interesting. I haven't heard anything about that yet. Unless I missed it, but I have not heard about anything.
No,
I haven't heard anything
bullet
about
shells
ballistics.
or anything.
It seemed like it was like she didn't have a round in the chamber, like that.
Right.
That's kind of what they seem to say, but I
So
don't
the
know enough about
magazine-
firearms. So
Yeah, the magazine was in place, but never cycled through. So there wasn't one in the chamber. So
right.
You've heard nothing about the gun, about how it was found, what condition it was.
Oh,
where
you did go, Mark. You did hear about how it was found. It was like Noonan said it was found by her leg, but then his report actually said it was under her leg. There was definitely contradictory evidence about where the gun was found.
The gun itself. I mean, is anybody
The
gonna
ballistics and stuff.
The ballistics, no. We
come
haven't
in
heard
and
that.
say, this firearm was operable? With the bullets
Right.
were configured in a way that they could have been used. I mean, for all I don't know this. Maybe there was no bullet in the. I mean, according to what Noonan said, she pulled and clicked and nothing happened. I mean, what does that mean? Is it a
So because it doesn't make sense, because he's saying that did he say that she clicked and pulled
Tap rack.
and
Yeah.
then it misfired?
no one calls it that, by the way.
Or fired, like pulled the trigger?
Because in order to make the gun fire ready, right? There has to be a magazine in there. There has to be a round in the chamber.
That's
Once
right.
you put the magazine in and it clicks, you pull the back and that puts a round in the chamber. Now, if you already have one in the chamber and you go and pull it, another one's going to try to go in there and it's going to jam. You're not going to be able to shoot it. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's why I'm trying to understand. I didn't fully understand when he testified. I that's either that happened or the gun just didn't fire because she didn't put one in the chamber when she put the magazine in.
That's
What
Right.
about
Like,
You only have
I
to
know
put
you know
one-
what I'm
yeah.
talking about, Lauren. I'm doing a terrible job of
No, you're right. You're
explaining
right.
this. But
Well, what about? Do
You're
we know if the model handgun, if that model handgun had a safety on it, or is that a non-safety firearm?
I'm not sure if it was her service.
I have a Glock that is
It said it
typically
was
what
a
a service
service
weapon is, and that it doesn't have a safety.
Glocks
Doesn't have a
don't
safety.
have
Right.
safeties.
No.
They don't
Yeah.
have safeties. Okay. All right. That's good.
My safety is I don't have one in the chamber. Right? If I'm going to
Yeah,
shoot it, there's
right.
one in the chamber.
Right.
And then that statement that Noonan gave about the door, the French door in the baby's room, was so disingenuous. I mean, he knew. He said at the end, oh yeah, they discovered that it was old damage. So what was the purpose of even beginning to narrate, oh, well, we thought at first that maybe she got a round off and maybe it, it fired into the door to the baby's room. I mean, he said right at the end, yeah, the punchline was, oh, well, we didn't find any broken glass. It was just like an empty, panel. So it turned out to be
old damage.
Yeah, old damage.
I don't get
Sounds
the
to
point
me
of
like
any of that
he
was.
has made statements about that before, and maybe at the scene was trying to come up with something that she fired at him.
Exactly.
And he found some old glass because it's an older house that's been
Right.
remodeled.
So maybe it was like anticipating what would come up on cross is what I'm thinking.
Yes,
Because I don't
I
understand
agree.
otherwise why that was relevant at all. And then Courtney did testify to the fact that the air conditioner was smoking.
Yeah, that's right. She did. Yeah.
How was she seeing that when she's running?
I don't know how she saw it though. That was my question. How did she see it? How would she have seen it? If it doesn't make much sense to me at all.
She didn't. The judge was asked to sustain that. He probably should have. What he should have allowed her to say was, I saw it smoking, but not allow her to draw the conclusion that that means he shot, that he shot
exactly
the
right.
Or again, she's not that important a witness, but
no.
I mean, if you wanted to, needle her on cross a little more, the inference could have been made on cross-examination that you don't know that, you were told that. And what else are you told by these people?
That's right.
And you hate her so much. You've all huddled up and been told what to say. And again, he could have done that. I don't know to what end, because she's not that important and you're just fighting for the sake of fighting. But should not have been allowed to say that I know the air conditioning was shot. What she should have been allowed to say was, I observed, smoke coming from the room. That's it.
Right. I wanted to switch gears about something else I wanted to bring up about Daly and Bradle's question to him today about Justin and what he told the police department before he went over that house, and how they would have influenced the police officers potentially to have a vigilant attitude going into the house, which is interesting because it would be favorable, I think, to the defense in the sense that of what happened with Noonan. But then contrary to that, the officers essentially not securing firearms in the house first before moving them around. So I kind of see it both ways, but I'm interested in one of the things Daly said, where he said that they were still searching for weapons around the house, even though at that time they hadn't secured any firearms. That is just a lot of stuff there that I took away. I don't know what anybody's thoughts were on that.
Well, what got me was like right away, she told them the weapons are in the basement. So why wasn't the basement checked right away?
Immediately.
And then if they weren't there, they would have known that they weren't there, and she didn't tell the truth. I guess I'm just confused, because then Justin comes and they have no problem, since they didn't secure any of the weapons and they didn't find any of them. And there's no evidence that anybody actually went to the basement to even look for them, even though that's where she said they were. They had no problem letting Justin going down there. It makes absolutely no sense to me.
Not at all. If she said that's where the weapons were and he's the only one who went down there, what?
Unsupervised.
That's bizarre. There's all kinds of things wrong with that.
Yes.
I don't know what to say about it. That's all. I got that like many times throughout, but today especially, because we asked her, she said they were in the basement. Like, it's like, okay, what is this? The Keystone Cops?
Yes,
Seriously,
it is.
though. Like, I mean, it's kind of like, they were in the basement. Okay, she said they were in the basement. Let's go and like now go and collect the kids' clothes, because she told us that they were in the basement. And then, okay, they're in the basement. Here comes adverse party here into the house who has a restraining order against her. And we're going to send him into, guess where? The basement, to go collect things for the child. Like, but nobody went into the basement. As far as I know, none of the police officers went to the basement to like see if what she was saying was true, to secure the firearms, because if they did, they would have known that they weren't there and none of this would have happened.
Right.
I mean, everything they did escalated things. You know, they could have just taken Kelsey outside. They could have said, "Hello, Miss Fitzsimmons. We
That's what I
have
was
this
just going to
order."
get at.
Yeah.
Like if I'm that judge, and another reason why I think this is better as a bench trial is the whole procedure and how this was executed creates enough doubt, in my opinion.
Mhm.
You know, like it creates enough doubt because it shows a lack of credibility just in the procedural habits of this law enforcement team. So, I mean, what you don't bring a social worker along, you don't secure the weapons, you don't bring her outside if you think she might be dangerous and just make her wait outside while you secure the house. I mean,
You allow Noonan in a one-on-one situation with Kelsey in that room without a second cop there?
Right.
Yeah. In my opinion, they literally have motive to lie about the whole thing because of the procedures that they lacked and never followed.
There you go.
And one thing I'm wondering as well, because if you remember from the security footage, we heard Noonan say that Kelsey handed the car seat to him and asked him to take it downstairs. Okay.
Yep.
We also heard Daly testify, there's no way in hell that we would have allowed Kelsey to be alone, unsupervised. Okay. Well, what else did we see in the footage? We saw Justin walking out the door with that same car seat that Kelsey asked Noonan to take down the steps. So without me knowing how that car seat made it down the stairs, I'm wondering if Noonan went ahead and left Kelsey alone, came back and saw that, you know, she had taken out a weapon, panicked. You know, this is just based on the fragments that we know, but maybe they also did not follow procedure with, you know, staying with Kelsey at all times too. I'm not sure. Maybe Noonan did step down the stairs and hand off that car seat.
Maybe.
Just thinking.
Yeah. It did seem like, though, it kind of definitely led credibility to the defense argument that she was trying to get rid of them. She was trying to get rid of them. To take the car seat, take these books. And he was like, and he testified, he was like, I'm just going to put these down. Like, these aren't important. Like right now, we'll put them down. But like, she was trying to get rid of him. So is she trying to kill him? Is she on a murderous rage? Or is she really just trying to get herself alone to kill herself? And I think already in the prosecution case, they've already proved the defense's case. I mean, that's just what I saw today. Unless something else comes out that's, you know, I don't know, going to blow my mind tomorrow. I don't get it.
100%. Well, I have to feed my family, and, you know, school's back in session tomorrow, which has implications for work for me. So I got to be in early, but thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
I look forward to being able to talk with all y'all again soon.
Sure.
And, justice for Kelsey, y'all.
Absolutely. Justice for Kelsey, indeed. Britt Happens, thank you so much.
Have a wonderful night. Take care.
I too am gonna go. I'm gonna get some sleep. I'm super tired.
Yep.
So
That's all right. You've been traveling.
This was very fun, and I enjoyed every minute of it. So
I'll see you in the morning, Lauren.
I will see you in the morning. Bye,
Later,
guys.
Lauren.
Bye.
Thank you, Lauren. Private investigator, common sense investigator on YouTube. Is anybody else about to step away as well? I know it's getting late. It's 10 o'clock here.
I've got some fire drill developing here I need to deal with.
You need to deal. We'll wrap the show right here. Then why don't we just wrap up? That's getting late. We all got early mornings, I'm sure. So
Definitely.
New episode of DTF St. Louis just dropped. I'm anxious.
You're gonna be up for a while.
It's only like 30 minutes, I think, each episode.
Yeah,
I'm watching it week by week, but I'm hooked on it. It's just right up my alley as far as dark comedy goes.
A series, Mazza, we talk about TV and stuff.
Sure.
I just watched a series I was very disappointed in. I had high hopes for. Scarpetta. Did anybody watch this?
Nope.
It's on
No.
Amazon Prime.
Thank you, because I almost did.
I know.
It's-
I saw that come up too. What? Not good.
Of I think she's an incredible actress. Obviously, it's on the books of Patricia Cornwall. But she's a medical examiner, and it's supposed to be like exciting. It's just really stupid. I was disappointed. I still watched all 8 episodes, but
I rewatched the whole Peaky Blinders series because of this movie that was coming out, and I watched it, and I was pretty disappointed. I mean, it was okay. Like, I'm a fan of the show, so I enjoyed it, but you know, it was just a glorified extra episode, pretty much. Not really a great ending, and just like a really predictable one.
Bastard.
And I was just like, oh man, yeah, I was kind of bummed out, but you know, but I you know, again, if you consider it as being part of the whole show, it's not that bad. You know, it's all right. It was okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks, Mazza, for having me on. I'm going to go catch some Z's, and I just wanted to say, hey, Kelsey, because she may very well be watching, and we love you and we support you, and I'll be there in the morning, and love you guys. I'll see you guys soon. Take care.
Bye, Lori.
Bye now.
Lori Mullen Law on X. We're going to Attorney Mark Federer on the Glare with us tonight as well. And I'm going to be back tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. If everyone wants to come back tomorrow, let me know. I'll send you guys invites one-on-one and inbox messages. But yeah, it'll be at least 2 shows for me this week. I'm thinking Monday night, Tuesday night, and Wednesday. I'll have to determine based on how Wednesday plays out. If the trial ends Wednesday, then I'll probably just do host a show with a finale. And then if it goes into Thursday, then I'm probably not going to, I may or may not do a show Wednesday night. So probably not.
Yeah, this trial couldn't have come at worse timing for me because, like,
really?
I'm
Issue
moving.
channel. Oh yeah.
No, the channel's fine now.
That's good.
Yeah, like I guess it was just a 24-hour thing. Thank God, because like I didn't even get an email. Like, so all of a sudden my live streaming was disabled, and I was like, what? And I didn't know for how long or anything. And then you know, just towards the end of Aiden's stream last night, I checked and I was like, oh sweet. All right, it's back up. So yeah. So I'm good now as far as that, but I'm moving and it's time consuming and it's tedious and you know, so I got a lot to do, but so I'm paying as much attention to this trial as I can, but and I'm so invested in the case, but I just can't give it the attention that I planned on all this time.
No, I understand. People are asking about the popcorn fundraiser too. I believe that's now closed. The link is in the description if you do need it. I think it closed around 8 o'clock tonight, though. Yeah. So, like I said, I'm looking like Noonan was the #1 witness I was looking forward to because I felt that he's basically the whole, you know, everything really centers around him as far as I'm concerned. So I'm looking forward to, you know, I'm going to have an opportunity maybe during lunch tomorrow or after work to pay attention to that. So I'll have to fit it in somewhere, but I'll find a time of the day to catch up on it and watch it and see what's going on and all that. But it should be, I'm looking forward to seeing what Bradle's got in store. And I think Bradle having this extra night to just get a little, you know, already hearing the direct examination from Gubitosi, now having an opportunity to overnight, you know, prepare himself for what he wants to maybe add some extra things for questions. You know, it'd be a great opportunity for Bradle to really knock it out of the park tomorrow and really put this case to bed.
Yeah. People are asking where I'm moving to. I'm actually moving next to, I'm pitching a tent next to Aiden's pool. It's really nice to let me squat in his backyard.
You guys get the Glare School of Law accredited master.
I thought there was a treehouse in the back of that house, so you can just. No, I'm just kidding.
He told me I could build one, but I was like, that's too much. That's too much work.
It was in the Glare, like a sign that's wooden. It's all carved. And it says the Glare.
He's like, all you gotta
house for Clover.
He's like, all you gotta do is skim my pool once in a while, dude.
Right,
like, you're all good. And I was like, word. So,
Right.
you know,
The popcorn fundraiser is open till midnight, folks. So up till midnight.
it's expensive. He's charging me a lot of money, but the petty
Right.
streams are, you know.
Massachusetts is expensive. I mean, for a whole tree house and then a dog house for Clubber, I mean, you're looking at least $800 minimum. That's not including, you know, taxes and other expenses. You know how it is. You know how it is up here. You know, everything's costly and pricey.
Yeah, no. I just I found a whole other area, still here in Tennessee, but
nice,
a good distance from where I'm at now. But it's this is all good. Like everything in my life is actually going really good right now. Like this is it's one of the first times I've ever like moved under really good circumstances where I'm just like, you know what, I'm gonna upgrade now. I'm gonna, you know. So yeah, things are going really good right now. So I'm excited, but I'm nervous too because I'm kind of lighting a fire under my own butt. I'm creating a situation for myself where I have to really challenge myself. So I'm excited about it.
It's awesome. Well, good to hear that, man. Good to hear.
Yeah, man.
Clubber's doing well too. Clubber's
internet
legend. Yeah. Among dogs.
Clover and Drago, man. I'm excited for them. I'm just excited to have this whole little life planned that I got for the three of us. I'm excited about it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Attorney Betterow, any final thoughts before we wrap up?
No, just you know, it was a little underwhelming today, but in a good way for the defense, not a good way for the prosecution. It's moving fast, and you know, I think the cross will be fascinating tomorrow. It'll be the most interesting part of the trial, other than perhaps defendant testifying. That's always the most interesting part of a trial if it happens. But I think within a couple days, this the criminal component of the nightmare anyway will be over. Yeah,
I think so too. It's gonna be good to see this over for her. This has been a hellacious past, you know, really since last June. I mean, talking about 9-10 months for her with family court still to come. But this will be, you know, getting the criminal portion of this over with and acquitted would be massive for her. And then that's basically, you know, just all roads lead to joint custody of the child, which will be great. And she can close this up and then start to move on with her life. And that's what we want. That's what we're praying for. It's what we're fighting for. And I know you guys have taken part of my fundraisers. Thank you guys so much for those, for that participation to help her out. Make sure those shows get boosted to bring in a larger audience that can donate to her. I thank you guys for that very much. It's been you know, something that's very important, but you know, just getting Kelsey back on with her life is what is the most important thing. And I know we like to poke fun at some of the folks out there that have contributed to ruining her life and how they trip and slip, but at the same time, you know, it's a very serious matter. You know what I'm saying? We poke fun at that, you know, the tripping and slipping, but you know, again, it's you know, I just believe that things are going to work out for her in a big way, and you know, it's going to be a successful week. And I think Judge Karp's going to make the right decision, and hopefully sooner rather than later, once this whole thing comes to a wrap this week.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I just don't see how a guy like Judge Karp is gonna, you know, I mean, and even still, like outside of the law, you know, I just don't see a guy like him, like, not looking at this and going, dude, I can't send this woman to jail. She's already been to jail. Right. She's been shot. Right. Like, I am not sending this woman to jail. You know, like, I just can't imagine anybody doing that at this point, especially with how weak the case is. Like, I could see if the evidence was overwhelming and there's like video footage of her going, I'm going to kill you. You know what I'm saying? Like, if that's the case, then okay, then the judge has got to do what he's got to do. But when there's clear, like, I mean, just mountains of reasonable doubt, like, I just don't see how he, in good conscience, could ever put her in a position to where she would have to deal with this any further in a criminal level, you know?
Agreed, 100%. And that's just, I think Mark would agree, you know, as he said throughout the show, I mean, there's reasonable doubt. Even the fact that he said, she said, you hear what Daly said today, you know, he basically testified that she admitted she wanted to die, which is evidence of a suicidal tendency at that exact moment. That's exactly Kelsey and the defense team's they're stating, what they want out there. That's the truth they're fighting for. And for Daley to say that, I mean, I was watching, that when I finally watched that clip today, I said to myself, that's the bread and butter right there. That's it.
It's actually a double whammy because they have her saying that, which everything you just analyzed it is accurate, and they have Noonan saying don't do it, which is reasonably plausible, if not likely, that would relate to don't do it. That's not the kind of thing that usually one would say when someone's trying to shoot you in the face and then trying to reload. So these are things that are plausible, they're reasonable. That creates doubt. It just does, and that's before even this guy's been cross-examined. So they're well positioned to win the defense.
I agree.
All right,
you got to roll. Okay, Mark.
Okay, guys, take care.
Take care of yourself. Alrighty then. So, Will, you and I, just some thoughts here about just to switch subjects. Chuck Norris passed away this week. That was for me. One of my favorite action stars of all time. He's one of my top 5 favorites. He was someone from a very young age that I watched often.
Silent Rage, bro.
Yeah.
Coming on HBO late at night, dude. Like,
right.
You know what I mean? Lone Wolf McQuade. Like, Lone Wolf McQuade has got to be in my top 5 action movies of all time.
Yeah.
Easy.
That's that's a real good one. That's I love that one because he's got that police truck, and then he takes on David Carradine in that movie, which is awesome as well. It was Bill and Kill Bill, which was an awesome movie as well. But it was just that was the original Walker Texas Ranger, really, back in 1983.
That's what I thought it was going to be. I thought Walker. I was like, is this? And then I had to remember, was his name? No, his name wasn't Walker. It was Lone Wolf McQuade. Like, is this about Lone Wolf McQuade? It's not. Dang.
Right.
Maybe they couldn't get the rights, and maybe this is the closest thing that they could do to make a TV series of Lone Wolf McQuade, but it wasn't. It was just basically Matlock with Texas Ranger badge.
Right. That's pretty much it. I like the pickup truck he had on Walker. Bomb around with the lights going on. He had his partner. His partner was actually in Die Hard. He was actually the guy in Die Hard that was trying to break the code on the vault there. Yeah, the quarterback.
Gentlemen, it looks like the police have themselves an RV.
Right.
Yeah, that guy.
Code of Silence. I watched that this weekend. Actually, I had to watch that. That's one of my favorite. Code of Silence.
Octagon.
The Octagon was amazing. That's another underrated movie. I watched actually Delta Force 2 on Sunday, and I forgot I hadn't seen this since I was a kid. And I said
I couldn't get through the Delta Force. Like I thought it was like so. No, it was it was Delta Force that was boring as hell. That one in Invasion USA. Like I wanted to see. I remember I was dying to see Invasion USA, and I didn't get to see it in the theater because I was a little kid. It was like whatever my mom would let me go see.
Yeah,
and then I finally got around to renting it, and I was like, this is so boring. This is terrible.
That mall scene in that movie is outstanding, though.
The mall scene is awesome. Yeah. The shopping mall scene is dope. Yeah. Sure.
It's a lost art. The Canon films, the Golden Globus movies, all those movies back then, those production companies shut down, but they used to make some, random action movies left and right that you just don't see anymore. And Chuck was one of the big stars. But yeah, Delta Force I liked a lot. Invasion USA actually I liked a lot too. I understand it's a little hit and miss here and there, but
who was that in Delta Force? That is Lee Marvin, right?
Lee Marvin from the Dirty Dozen.
Yeah, Lee Marvin, right? Yeah.
Yeah, he was the colonel in that movie. Yeah, that was a good one. It was a little bit. There's parts of Delta Force though that you really don't want to watch back. It's like, the whole hostage taking part. It's like you just want to fast forward to the action scenes, but the action delivers. I mean,
that's what I mean, man.
Yeah,
like this is like so slow. What is going on here? Like, and missing in action, like that was awesome.
Yeah, the first one especially.
Yeah. I love Chuck Norris movies so much when I was a kid, dude. Like I would get the karate magazines.
Oh yeah, Black Belt magazine.
Black Belt magazine. Yeah, I didn't know anything about karate. I just I would just go and wish for the ninja stuff. I wanted a ninja outfit. I wanted the claws because I thought I could climb walls if I got the claws.
Right. I remember those.
Cards.
Yeah. I remember those.
Yeah.
You probably saw Revenge of the Ninja. You probably saw Enter the Ninja. You probably remember all those random.
Of course.
Yeah, all those. Yeah.
Dude, if
Those
you
are
saw the cannon thing, on
Yeah.
the screen come together like that, the scene
Right.
from the cannon, like I was like, please be a Chuck Norris movie, please be a Chuck Norris movie. And then if it was,
Yeah.
I was like, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, and that gets
totally.
back to the Octagon, because the Octagon was a ninja movie, and that sword fight he has with that guy late in the movie, not the main guy, not the guy that was his half brother, but the ninja that was like the enforcer of that group. That one-on-one sword fight was incredible.
Yeah.
And on the stand and everything, and then he kicks the guy into the flames at the
Yeah. Like you remember American Ninja?
Yes, I do. Yep.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't seen that in a long time.
Those were like the movies that like, you settled for when Chuck Norris was like filming movies and you were waiting for the next one to come out.
Right.
You were always just waiting for like, so you had these fill-in movies like the ones you were mentioning, like Ninja 3, The Domination and stuff like that. Like No Retreat, No Surrender, Like,
Yep. That's one of my favorites, actually. That believe it or not, that's one of my
bro.
favorite movies growing up. The only thing is, I never knew there was an international version of that movie. So when I was tracking it down on YouTube, I was like, "What the heck? What is with the different theme song and everything?" And I guess there was an international version first. Then they turned it into an American film, rescored it, re-edited it, then released it. But that was a classic. That movie, it was Van Damme's breakout movie. Most people don't know that.
No Surrender, yeah. What a stupid movie, though. Oh my God! Like Bruce Lee's ghost came back to train this guy. Like that is the stupidest movie ever. And like, but Van Damme was such a good villain because he did the splits on top of the rope, and you were like, "Whoa, this guy he's got to be a tough. I mean, he could do a split. He's got to be a badass, But then it turned out that he didn't get any respect, even though he could have it's so funny because I remember Steven Seagal in his prime and him being on Arsenio Hall and talking about Van Damme and being like, he's a good dancer, I guess, and I was like, oh, and then I was like, oh, Van Damme's a fraud, blah, 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 because Steven Seagal said so. Turns out it's the other way around. And Van Damme actually was like a champion.
Yes, he was. Yep.
And Seagal hasn't really done anything ever. Like he's a master at Aikido, which like a legit Aikido master. But anybody who does MMA or like real martial arts, like they'll tell you like Aikido is basically a useless martial art. Like you put him against somebody who's a master at jiu-jitsu and they'll kill him. Like he can't do anything. Like what are you gonna do on the floor with Aikido? What are you gonna do on the floor? Nothing.
And the thing about Chuck Norris, who did Tang Soo Do and Taekwondo eventually before he started his own art, Chuck Kundo, Chuck Norris actually started to take Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu this century and took a couple other arts as well, and he was a black belt in those as well. He was a 10th degree black belt, I think, in his own art, and an 8th and a 9th and 2 others for Tang Soo Do and Taekwondo, and then he was also a black belt in Jiu-Jitsu. So Chuck was doing what Bruce Lee did, which was being as well-rounded as possible. A lot of people didn't realize that about Chuck because they always look at him as a traditional karate fighter. They never really took karate because Taekwondo and Tang Soo Do are not karate.
No. Yeah, I always thought that too, actually.
Yeah. Karate's a cliche name for martial arts that people in this country use.
It is.
Because of the Karate Kid.
You know karate?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really martial arts. Yeah.
It's like saying Coke to describe soda. They might even be referring to grape soda. Like, you want a Coke, and then they go to their soup, and they grab you a grape crush and go, like, I thought you said Coke. Like, no, man, everything's Coke.
And people didn't realize that Van Damme, when he came to this country, he was training with Chuck Norris. He was holding the punching bags and the focus gloves for Chuck. There's some video on YouTube of that, and I guess people in Van Damme's country, his homeland, they used to make fun of. They used to give his dad a hard time back in Belgium, saying, "Oh, he's just Van Damme. He's just Chuck Norris's whipping boy," and that always kind of angered John Claude because he didn't like his dad going through that, and that kind of fired him up to eventually, be a star of his own. And because he knew Chuck, I guess he must have had some kind of connection, with the Cannon films and all that later made Bloodsport, and I believe Kickboxer. And it was kind of amazing how Van Damme's career kind of really launched off of getting to know Chuck Norris. The same way Chuck Norris, people forget, got his first role fighting Bruce Lee in Way of the Dragon.
Return of the Dragon.
Return of the Dragon in the U.S. The international name we later learned was Way of the Dragon.
Way of the
Yeah, that's
Dragon.
what I
You're
learned too.
right. You're right.
I knew it as Return of the Dragon myself for years.
Yeah.
Because what they did was they Americanized the name because Bruce Lee had died, and then they wanted to make it seem like it was a sequel to Enter the Dragon. So
Yeah.
they called it Return of the Dragon, but the whole time I watched the movie, I was like, "What is he returning from?"
Right.
He just shows up in Italy, and then he just battles, gangsters trying to take over a restaurant. The whole
I
movie.
just watched that fight scene again recently, and
Amazing.
It's brilliant. Like the cat that they just keep going to, they keep like there's just a cat watching the fight, and like it's just hilarious. Like it's brilliant. Like
The
so
cat's just
like
pawing around something at one point.
the artistic value of just putting the cat in that scene is brilliant.
When they zoom in on Bruce Lee, then they zoom in on Chuck when the gong's playing, and then they zoom in on the cat too, just before Bruce Lee kills Chuck Norris in the headlock, the guillotine or whatever. Yeah.
And the bones and knuckle cracking that's going on between the two of them when they take off their shirts and like it goes on, like it sounds like infinite, like it goes on forever.
Right. Why did Bruce Lee need to stretch when he already beaten up? Like he beat up Bob Wall, he beat up the fighter from Japan. He'd already beaten up a whole bunch of guards and everything. That was a great movie. Those movies were great back then too because they had no special effects. It was just straight up fight choreography. And I heard Van Damme talking about that in one of his videos on YouTube. In his more recent years, he's like, that's the problem with fight scenes now is it takes them 2 weeks to film a fight that used to take a day or two. I guess one of the fights in Bloodsport, it only took them like 4 hours to film it.
Have you watched Wick is Pain, the documentary? Wick is Pain. Oh man, I'm pretty sure that's on Peacock, maybe.
Okay, it's about John Wick.
Yeah, it's about the production of the first John Wick, at least. I haven't even finished the whole thing.
Yeah.
But like you really get an idea of like what those guys go through for the training of those scenes, like what Keanu goes through. Like he's Keanu's a smoker, you know what I mean? And he's no spring chicken, so but those guys will all tell you like he works harder than anybody. And he's not a martial artist by any means. He just does whatever they train him to do in the movie for the movie. But he will train and train and train. And like you see him and he just like, there's moments where he's just coughing uncontrollably. He vomits at one point, like, because he's working so hard, but like he puts everything into those movies. It's crazy. And he's like Ted about it. He's like Ted Theodore Logan about it. Like he's like, oh dude, whoa, dude, that was sick. Like you see him watching scenes and being proud of the work because he knows how hard they worked on the choreography for it. So they're watching the end result and he's like, oh dude, the double tap. Did you see that shit, dude? It's hilarious. Yeah. It's That's super great. Fun. He's like, he loves what he's doing. Like make no mistake. Keanu just does not take this cool life that he has for granted in the slightest bit.
Yeah.
Like Dogstar has a new album out and they're doing really well. Like it's actually good. Like I didn't like Dogstar before. I was like, Jesus Christ. Okay. Like these guys are just being carried by Keanu being in the band. Right. But this last album, maybe I just became more open-minded. I don't know, but I like it. I think it's pretty good.
That's cool. Albums I'm not too big on. I just know individual songs here. I've always been that way my whole life. Like people always say, like, who's your favorite band? Who's your favorite singer? I'm like, I'm really not like that. It's usually
I don't even have to have one. Who says you have to have a favorite?
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't tell you what my favorite band is.
That's good.
I couldn't. I mean, I could give you a top 10, but none more than the other, So, but I mean, I just like music, it depends on what I'm in the mood for.
Aerosmith, they were a real good band. Metallica, obviously, I like Linkin Park. I don't like Linkin Park as much now. I think probably because I played that so much 20 years ago that it just you kind of beat it to death, those songs after a while when you play them over and over and over again for a couple of years. But Breaking Benjamin, I liked for a while. They were all right for a couple of years, but then I just kind of moved on. So, yeah, but yeah, it's too bad about Norris. I kind of, getting back to Norris here, I saw a clip of him recently on his X or YouTube or whatever it was, or Facebook or whatever it was. And I said, man, you can tell he's aged a lot in the past year or two compared to how he progressively was aging. And I said, my God, I go, he looks like he's, if he passed away in like the next year or two, I wouldn't be shocked. Because it just, people tell me that, with his death and everything, I look at the fact that he recently was on a flight from I presume Texas to Hawaii or California to Hawaii. And a lot of times people have health scares on a flight or recently after being on a flight because of that elevation change. And I'm wondering, if they have an autopsy, is it going to be maybe a heart attack related matter? Just because of that.
He was what, 86? Yeah, that's what I want to say. 86. I mean, dude, like Mick Jagger and Keith Richards have outlived Chuck Norris. That's crazy.
That is crazy.
That is crazy. And like Shatner outlived Chuck Norris, and he's
95 years old.
95, dude.
Yeah.
That is wild.
That's insane.
And he's been smoking cigars for like 50 something years.
Right. How does that figure, considering how healthy Chuck was? I mean, Chuck was constantly doing fitness every day. I mean, he was selling, like someone just said, the infomercials with Christy Brinkley used to be on every day.
Then again, so was Bruce Lee. I mean, if you want to break it down like that, you know, Bruce Lee was as healthy as they get. You know?
And it just, you wonder if the body takes certain damages too. Like Bruce Lee had the brain swelling. I mean, it probably was caused from that injury. He had the squatting injury that happened that literally crippled him for a while. Then he somehow recovered, but that, that could have triggered something in the spine that led to the brain, that led to swelling and unfortunately his death. But Bruce Lee was just getting started. I mean, Enter the Dragon was his first American. It's like Jackie Chan.
He was about to break out in American film, and imagine how that would have affected martial arts movies moving into the 80s and the 90s, and how the difference could have been. And I'm not saying any better or worse. I'm saying just imagine, think of it in terms of Back to the Future and there being an alternate 1985. You know what I mean? Like, who knows? Like, what kind of films, I mean, and imagine those other stars that broke out in cinema. Would they have careers, and would they have been in movies with Bruce Lee? You know what I'm saying? Down the road, who knows? Who knows how much more of a martial artist, of a skilled martial artist Brandon Lee would have grown up to be.
That was the thing about Brandon Lee. I always thought Brandon Lee was an average looking martial artist on screen. I don't say that to insult him, but when I was a kid and I saw him, I was like, he didn't impress me the way his father did. And
I got really excited. I got really excited about that movie with Rapid Fire with Dolph Lundgren. I got so excited about that because I was like, oh my God, like Brandon Lee, Bruce Lee's son, he's a badass. Right. And then I was just like, this guy's like kind of a twat. Like he's just, he was whining. Like he wasn't much. He was like a goody two shoes kind of, the character. I didn't like the character. It was disappointing, and then The Crow was cool, but for different reasons.
Right.
I was already in that angsty teenage phase when The Crow came out. And so like it went along, and the soundtrack was great for what I was listening to at the time too, so it was just like, great soundtrack actually. Like, but yeah, like I wanted more martial arts Brandon Lee, but The Crow coming out, I was okay without the martial arts. I didn't even think of him as a martial artist. I was hoping that that's what it was going to be. And then when I watched it, it wasn't what I expected, but I still liked it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think to your point too, he didn't have Bruce Lee in his life all those years because he was so young. When his father died, that his dad would have really trained him up to be, a lot more talented. Like I said, I thought he was a solid martial artist, but not anywhere to the level of his father because his father was not there to train him. So who knows what kind of potential. And the fact that he died, he got killed on set by a bullet. the same way his dad had died. His dad's character had died.
In a movie,
Game of
yeah.
Death.
Game of Death.
Yeah.
The one with Kareem, right? Where he
Kareem.
wore the yellow like Uma did in Kill Bill.
Right. And that was the last movie Bruce Lee ever had released. It was the second to last Bruce Lee movie ever made, but Bruce Lee never finished it because he stopped to film it to go film Enter the Dragon. He was going to go back and film the rest of Game of Death afterwards. But the good news about Game of Death was at the very least, they had filmed all the martial arts scenes in the towers already, so they could at least release that footage. But the Game of Death release in the United States was a disaster because they literally had Bruce Lee's face painted on at one point. There was
I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember I rented that movie because when I was going through my teenage phase of I need to watch all the Bruce Lee movies.
Yeah.
And so I rented it, and I remember seeing that and not knowing anything of what you're saying until way later.
Right.
But noticing, and I was just like, okay, well, this is how he died in real life. That's eerie. Seeing that happen in the movie and then being like, oh wow, that's not him. What's going on here?
Right.
Like that is clearly not Bruce Lee. What is happening here? And then later on, like years and years later, I found out what you're talking about.
Yeah, it was intense. And then the movies I recommend for Bruce Lee is Enter the Dragon's #1. That's the greatest martial arts movie ever made. Way of the Dragon / Return of the Dragon. Even despite the Chuck Norris fight being the greatest fight, in my opinion, one-on-one in movie history, it's a great movie all the way through. There's a lot of great fights. And then Game of Death I only recommend because of the fighting at the end. The Kareem fight is an awesome fight. And then there's one scene particularly.
Artistic value, if we're talking about artistic value in a martial arts scene, like just Kareem's tall, lank, and all that reach. So when he would kick, like it had so much, like you really could imagine the power behind one of his kicks, even though they don't look great. Right. But when he catches Bruce Lee with one of those kicks, you're like, oh my God, like that's devastating. Like, so it was, Bruce Lee had just a great mind and a great eye for choreographing fight scenes and making them look really cool.
Right. And that's a great point because the Kareem fight was iconic. The Chuck Norris fight was iconic. But then the fight against Han at the end of Enter the Dragon, where he had the spike hands and he had to, he was getting all cut up. And then there was the mirrors. Like that was incredibly creative stuff. Absolutely creative and just looked awesome on screen.
Yeah. I've seen Enter the Dragon so many times, man.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So many times. It's such a good movie.
There's one fight scene though for Bruce Lee that nobody talks about anymore, but the Chinese Connection. When he goes in that dojo, he takes out about 100 guys. That also inspired, in my opinion, Kill Bill. There were 3 Bruce Lee elements.
He keeps doing those side hook kicks, like one after the other, like just knocking dudes out, like one after the other, right in the face too. They all go spinning back. So fun. Yeah.
Incredible. But what I wanted to see was like a Chuck Norris Bruce Lee team up movie, and I always thought that the character Roper in Enter the Dragon, and I love John Saxon. I thought he was absolutely fantastic. But I said he was great acting wise. He did a great job martial arts wise too, because Bruce Lee trained him up. But I always said Chuck Norris would have been an awesome Roper too, just because of the straight up martial arts that you could have had in that movie. But it was, like I said, Saxon was perfect.
The thing is but like Chuck couldn't have done Saxon's character.
No.
The way that Saxon did it, man. Like Saxon's character was perfect because he was just so smooth and chill and just an American who liked to bet and had just happened to be really good at karate, dude. Like he was out playing golf and he had a gambling problem, but he happened to be really good at fighting. Yeah. So like, he was great. Like the older I got and watched that movie, the more I appreciated it, just because I could appreciate the characters. Jim Kelly too, man. Jim Kelly was so smooth in that movie. Yeah. He was like, man, you come right out of a comic book. It's one of the best lines ever.
Yeah.
So good.
Man. I'll be too busy looking good.
Out in the moonlight, baby.
Yeah. When he takes out the cops And then he steals their cop car and drives off. That is the funniest scene.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's so good, man. Dude, I was so mad when they killed him, dude. I was
Oh, I know. That's how I feel too. Because
yeah.
he would have beat Han straight up without the metal hand. If Han didn't have the metal hand, there's no way Han's winning that fight. Jim Kelly's taking him right out.
Yeah, Han was awful, man. That guy was a great villain. He's a great villain.
Was. Yeah. Han got his at the end, though, and he got impaled on that spear sticking out of the mirror.
Totally got impaled. Yeah. It was sticking out of the mirror. And he's like off his feet and everything, and the mirror is just spinning.
Yeah.
Like, real.
Just winding down. That was a great movie. That's honestly one of my top 10 favorites, Enter the Dragon. There's no question about it. That's actually Sammo Hung he fights at the beginning from Martial Law. They used to be on CBS back in the same years that Walker Texas Ranger used to be on.
Oh yeah.
Yep. He's younger. He looks a lot different, but he's in that. And people don't know this, but Jackie Chan's actually in Enter the Dragon too.
Really?
He's one of the guards in the brown. He's one of the guards in the brown gi, and Bruce Lee cranks his neck. Yeah, if you Google it, you'll.
Now I gotta watch it again.
Yeah, it doesn't look like him, but it is. Yeah, when you look close enough, you're like, oh yeah, it's him, but he's younger. Yep.
Yeah, it makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. Yeah. And Chong Li was in Enter the Dragon too. Bolo.
That's right.
He was Bolo.
He was unbelievable in that movie.
Yeah. Yeah. Like the way he was just like cracking people in half. And shit.
Oh, yeah. He took the arm, he's like suppressing the guy's body. It's like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, ruthless. And like he's such a cool character because like Asian guys in those movies, like they're never that big, you know? So like he was just one of a kind, you know, just being so muscular. Like it was just such a rare thing for anybody to be that big, much less an Asian guy. So it's just wild.
Goro from Mortal Kombat, basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
That character was nuts. And then, Chong Li, his character in Bloodsport was incredible as well. He was unbelievable in both of those movies.
Yeah. Yeah, man. The way he messed up what's his face? I already forgot the character's name.
Yeah, from Revenge of the Nerds.
The cockeyed guy, yeah.
Yeah.
But it was just so funny how like Van Damme and him became like such close friends.
Ogre, right? Ogre was his name from Revenge of the Nerds. Yeah.
Frankie,
yeah. He was a good guy. He was a great character.
No, wait, no, because that's what he called Frank Dukes. That's Frankie. Like, no,
Frank Dukes is Frankie, yeah.
Frank Dukes is Frankie. Yeah.
Donald Gibb. I think it was Donald Gibb was his name. His real life name was Donald Gibb, I think. Donald Gibb. Yep, Donald Gibb. That's his real life name.
Okay, you would say.
Yeah, right. His character was who?
I've seen Bloodsport so many times too.
Ray Jackson.
Ray Jackson.
Yeah. He was a natural character, that guy. And he had Chong Li beat too. He just started over celebrating it, and then it was all she wrote.
Yeah, man, it's such a fun movie. Show us Dimok.
Right.
Death Touch.
Yeah. That was an awesome movie. I like that whole underground tournament feel to it too, which was really awesome. And
yeah, because it was based on a true story. You know what I mean? So you have like this, right? Exactly.
I think it was all BS, right? They think the Frank Dukes
is a real guy. Yeah. Like he lives in the Washington area. My brother lived there a long time ago, and he like long before he got engaged, got married. He actually met Frank Dukes, and he was talking about training with him because my brother does martial arts, and he was talking about training with it. He called me up. He was like, dude, like I'm probably gonna train with Frank Dukes. I was just like, what? Because all I thought of was Bloodsport, you know what I mean? And you see all those stats at the end of the movie, like he broke this record, broke that record, broke that record, still holds the record for this, and blah blah blah. And so like I'm like, what? And then it just didn't happen. I think he wanted too much money or something like that.
Right. I've never been in a tournament in my life. I don't intend to be in any tournaments I did actually ponder going down to Street Beefs once. I don't know if you've ever heard of Street Beefs. It's where these guys gather and they just show up and sign up and they just get in like a small cage fight somewhere down south. You know, they have boxing and MMA, and they just all like average Joes. And some guys are really skilled. Some guys are just absolutely atrocious. And they get in this little cage, this little like fenced in ring, and they just battle it out. Like it's all like controlled, supervised. They have thousands of videos on YouTube, Street Beefs, and you watch some outrageous
Street
stuff.
Squirrel, man. Street Squirrel out here being a dick, bro. Talking about I look like Jackson. You look like Jackson, especially with lime juice in your eye.
Oh.
So I was playing. Street Squirrel's my homie.
Yeah, Street Squirrel. Bobby Street Squirrel. That's a bouncer right there. He used to be bodyguarding for Karen.
Yeah, dude.
That was a pretty awesome crew they had. They had like just a whole host of guys wearing black shirts, walking Karen in every single day. It was awesome. It's cool stuff. No one's messing with Street Squirrel.
No, yeah, that's my homie.
Fight Club. That's another good movie. It's from the movie. You look like a Jackson. Yeah.
Oh, you look like a Jackson. It is
Ray Jackson. Yeah.
I just went.
That's what I thought it was from.
For no reason.
Yeah.
Just went not bad, dude.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It's funny. Yeah. No, I've never been in any tournaments. Yeah.
No.
People don't understand. Like fighting is like you just never know who the heck you're gonna walk into. Like no matter how good you are, like with UFC, like UFC proves that all the time.
You're gonna run into a lot of fighters better, bro.
Yeah, you never. It's like rock paper scissors. You can be like really good at a couple things. Then you take on somebody else, and they might have like a body type dynamic or a set of skills that trumps whatever your advantages are. You might just go up against somebody and absolutely annihilate them.
Upsets happen all the time, bro.
Oh yeah. There's no sustained champions ever in UFC, and even the ones that do, like John Bones Jones, they test negative. You know, he beat up Daniel Cormier like twice. I think he tested positive twice. So it's it's tough to stay on top in UFC. Boxing is a little bit easier, I think, but that's a tough sport as well. Yeah.
The stuff fighters go through, like the training and the preparation and the like that's the thing. I mean, you can say what you want about Jake Paul. I mean, that's fine to dislike him, but I'll tell you what, though, you don't get mad at nobody when they say that they got respect for him, because like you're probably somebody who just doesn't appreciate what fighters go through to prepare. And the fact that he's not a fighter and puts himself through the training that fighters put themselves through tells me that he's, he deserves at least. I mean, if he's putting on the show and it's selling tickets and he's putting butts in the seats, right on. You know what I mean? Like, I get that he's not, and people talking about, oh, he's a disgrace to the sport and he's making a mockery of the sport. Well, I mean, the sport wasn't selling tickets, like he might have saved it in some weird way, but that remains to be seen. But people became interested in boxing again, and a lot of it had to do with Jake Paul.
Right. That Mike Tyson fight, though, I just found it hard to believe Mike Tyson was. I understand Mike Tyson's older and all that, but still, I was like, Jake fought a real elusive fight that night, but I just felt like Mike Tyson. I don't know what the deal with Mike Tyson was. I don't know if they medicated him again or like they did with Lennox Lewis. I just thought he was medicated to just be more subdued. It just seemed like he wasn't himself. Even though
look at what's happening now. There's going to be a Gina Carano and Ronda Rousey. Dude, and he's promoting that. Like, the dude came into this with a plan. He executed this plan, and you got to give him credit. Like, it's wild. But I don't think. I mean, do I think that he should be taken seriously, legitimately as a contender of possibly being a champion? Not necessarily, because he hasn't fought any real fights yet. Not, they're all exhibition, shit to sell tickets. You know what I mean? And sell Netflix subscriptions. That's awesome. Great. It's fun. That's all I'm saying is I respect him in that degree, but I'm not sitting here going, oh, Jake Paul could get in there and whoop whoever the number one contender is today, blah, blah, blah.
Didn't he get beaten up real bad by some pro fighter?
The last fight he had.
What's his name beat him?
I can't remember who it was, but the last fight he just had, he got pounded. He got wrecked.
Yeah. I'm rooting for Gina Carano in that fight, just so you know. Gina, I love. Yeah. Gina, I don't know how Gina's going to do, though, considering how long it's been since she's fought. That's the only thing I have a question about. Physically, she's bigger than Ronda.
Yeah. I mean, again, that's an exhibition fight. That's something that people, people want to see. Like, it's for fun. It's just like when Tyson fought Roy Jones Jr., everybody was like, oh my God, everyone wanted to see that because it would never have happened, before, you know what I mean?
Right.
They're a different weight class, you know what I mean? But Roy Jones Jr. was considered the best fighter pound for pound, so I couldn't wait for that fight when I found out it was happening, even though I knew it wasn't going to be a legit fight,
Right.
And it was actually kind of sad to watch, honestly, like really was. But I mean, and the Jake Paul and Tyson fight was even sadder, but
it was sad.
Jesus, yeah. But the Ronda Rousey and Gina Carano, I see that being entertaining. As long as Gina Carano doesn't let Ronda Rousey get her in an armbar, she's good.
Right.
She's good.
Right. I thought Miesha Tate had Ronda. Yeah, that's what I'm putting my money on too, is Gina. I'm also concerned they're just going to rig the fight and just make it a draw.
Maybe. I mean, they're definitely going to be paid more to put on a good show. That's what they're there to do. It's just a show. Like they're not fighters in a league or in a they're not in a division of any kind. They're just, this is an exhibition fight to sell Netflix subscriptions and seats, and concessions and advertising. Yeah, that's all it is. It's no different than WWE, except they're really fighting.
Right, exactly. Really not taking it. I mean, you can rig sparring easily. I mean, it's not that hard to do. I mean, you just go there and you pull a couple punches. I mean, when you see somebody get punched in the head with a glove, it looks real, but you can always pull them so it looks like it's real, but it's not as much force as you would if you just absolutely sock somebody, with a hook or something.
Yeah, I feel like they're legit going to be. I mean, I think they're both competitive in nature, and I think they probably both thought, I wonder if I could take this person. Yeah. I'm sure both of them have thought that about each other. So I think that they're going to legit be competitive, towards each other. I just think that they're going to be compensated more for putting on a show, for sure.
Right.
Making it as entertaining as possible.
Right. That's I heard about the Gronk thing with, I think it was Logan Paul. You're thinking of Logan Paul, his brother. Yeah, Logan Paul tried picking a fight with Gronk, and then Brady and Logan Paul. They're just doing some kind of flag football entertainment with Brady and all that.
Yeah. Did you see the apology video that Logan Paul put out?
No, I didn't. What did he say?
After the flag football thing, it was hilarious. It was a WWE promo. Like it was just a troll. Like. I couldn't quote it, but I watched it earlier today and I was laughing because
that's funny.
Yeah, it's somewhere on his Instagram or something. Yeah. It was really funny.
Well, I gotta call it a night here. I've been going nonstop since early in the morning, so I'm gonna call it. I'll send you an invite for tomorrow too, 7:00. I'm thinking I'll let you know if it's a go, but I'll
right on
go. So we'll recap the thing and all that. So get after it, get some sleep here, and then start a new day tomorrow. So
sounds good, my man. Thanks for having me on, man. It's always fun. We always have a good time.
Congratulations on the channel, getting the channel back and all that, your video back, and you're good to go, man.
Thank goodness. Yeah, thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Anytime.
All right, my man.
All right. Well, Blair, thank you, sir, for joining our show tonight. MazzaMedia Live. I'm Mark, dropping Blair backstage. And I'm going to try to be back live tomorrow at 7:00. At least 2 nights this week, I'm thinking. At least Monday and Tuesday. And then Wednesday, I don't know about. We'll see. Other than that, we will see. So I'll see you guys tomorrow night for a recap. And then I'll try to invite everybody that was on tonight to see if they're available. And we'll take it from there. So, guys, have a great night. From MazzaMedia, I'm Mark. Please be sure to like the video, subscribe, and then donate to Kelsey Fitzsimmons GiveSendGo. Our popcorn store is still open until midnight. Those links are in the description of the video. There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, have a great night. I'm Mark. and take care from MazzaMedia. All right, guys. Have a good night.